So, guys, we are live. So, you see, we have a change of scenery. Austin Summers grew out some facial hair, and Avery Hayden went to the beach, and he got a little too much sun, so he's looking a shade darker today. So, no, we had a little change up. Austin Summers is at some tournament, and Avery is sick, so Karisma is filling in for Avery. Princeau is filling in for Austin, and Kevin is joining us in a few minutes. But yeah, do you guys want to start off with introduction since even though you guys have both been on my channel, maybe they're not they haven't seen the podcast. So just start off with like quick intros, guys.
Yeah, you can go first.
I've been in the industry now for 11 years. I worked with 4 different companies. I have my own company now. I've been coaching for 6. I've been a writer for Girls Chase. I was a head coach for Endless Options. I was an immersion coach for RSD. I actually was looking to coach for Honest Signals for a second, but then, I got too busy with my own business and it started doing really well. So I was like, well, screw it. I'll keep doing this. And I'm really passionate about what I do. I've been nothing but obsessed with this industry now since I was 19 years old, and I love it.
That sounds good.
Cool.
And I go by Prince O. So I've been in the community I've been doing coaching since 2018, so about 4 years. So I'm mainly been giving guys advice on online dating, texting, day game. So I'm located in DC area, and that's pretty much about me.
All right,
Cool.
yeah.
I actually never knew, Denton, you were a writer for Girls Chase.
Yeah. If you type in, I think the very first thing when you type in Denton Fisher is either going to be obviously the YouTube channel, but a lot of my writing does pop up on their stuff. I actually did a bunch of videos for them too on their YouTube channel.
Cool. Yeah, we did. I had them write a guest article for me, and I wrote a guest article for them about a year ago. But yeah, so the topic. So every time we do these weekly podcasts, we have a theme, and the theme, which I think is very appropriate given the podcast I did last night, is how not to simp. I think guys are either simping or they're really paranoid that they are simping, and then they go too far in the other direction. They're like worried about like buying a girl a drink or like holding the door open for her because they're like, I don't want to simp, right? So there's 2 extremes there. Did you guys see the podcast I did last night with the dominatrix and her slave?
Oh my God, that was so wild. It was crazy.
Right?
I saw it. Yeah.
That to me is like the pinnacle of simping.
Yeah. I wanted to act so bad. Like, how does that affect his career? Like, because it sounded like he was going out in public getting strapped up, right?
Well, I think he stays anonymous. So I think he said he doesn't like in terms of his career, no one knows.
Wow. Yeah, that whole interaction was crazy.
It was bizarre. Denton, do you know what we were talking about? Or you didn't see that last night?
No idea. Me and Avery were out. It's actually why he's sick right now. We were out gaming a little bit too long. I was up till 6 in the morning. I had a boot camp. The boot camp client ended up taking off, and then we just kept going.
That's kind of weird, man. You're spending a Saturday night going out and trying to pick up girls instead of arguing with people on the internet. kind of weird, but okay. So let me play a little clip. I think this is very appropriate. Let me play like a 2-minute clip from the podcast, and I think that will be a good starting point for this discussion. So this is like, and you can't make this shit up. Like, just look at the initial. Chick is pretty cute, right? I would say she's like a 7 or something. But the dude is in a fucking mask. But so this is a funny clip. So this guy was convinced that he was, I guess, not simping. I don't know. Let's listen to
ways. A bitch can be a female dog, yes. It can be a way to derogatory term for a woman. But I'm not using it in those terms. I'm talking about like a bitch, or like someone who's like I don't know, like someone who's like beneath someone, someone who's like beneath someone, which is like the nature of your guys' relationship.
Let me tell you how I feel about beautiful women like this. She's like a little baby that I want to take care of. She's like a little baby who cry and yell, bite you, scratch you. You're not gonna be upset at the little baby. You're actually gonna
Look how bored she looks.
She looks mad.
The resting bitch face is hilarious with her little crown.
like this little puppy. Look, she's doing berserk. She's chewing me. She's biting me. So I'm enjoying it. I mean,
I get that, but she is not. She is a full-grown adult woman. This woman knows what the fuck she's doing. She seems like a hustler, like a fucking. Yeah, I kind of respect, the fact that she. I have no disrespect towards the mistress lady. Hey, I mean, she's doing what she wants to do, I guess.
to me, beautiful women are like little baby princess. I don't care what she does. I find it funny.
You don't feel like that's putting her on a pedestal?
Baby, when a beautiful woman abuses a man, I find it entertaining because she's a little baby. She deserves it.
Oh, she is so far from a little baby. She is she's a mastermind. Okay, so I think
Yo, that is wild.
I think Kevin is like, what the fuck did I just walk
What
into?
up? No, sorry. I'm trying to like port my stream or something. Can everybody in my stream hear this okay?
Yeah.
No, not you guys. Sorry. my chat. Hold on. I'm trying to let's see. Just ignore me for a second. I'll figure it out.
Well, anyway, so what he said is not a lot of guys will actually say that or admit that, but that's actually the mindset of a lot of simps is I think she's like a precious, she's like this innocent little flower child that can do no wrong. And like, you would never get mad at a baby, would you? And they treat women like these like infantile babies, and women are just like this fucking dumbass.
Yeah, I see that's a big problem with guys. They put women on a pedestal and they never think they can do anything wrong. But end of the day, most women know exactly what they're doing and they just try to play dumb until a man like checks them or says something.
She was every time her dude was talking, she was looking disgusted, and every time you were talking, she started laughing. Like if you actually play the video back, every time you were talking saying anything, she started laughing and giggling, and then every time he said something, she looked like she wanted to vomit.
And the crazy part is that's not sustainable long term. She's eventually going to leave him and go with someone who's more alpha, more Chad, more masculine.
So she's not exclusive to him. He's exclusive to her. But she has other slaves, and then she has also alpha guys that she fucks. So she said in the podcast, I am attracted to alpha guys. I'm not attracted to beta guys, right? She's like, I have alpha guys like that, I will see for, having fun. And then these are my slaves.
Wait, does she fuck the slaves?
No, so I never got a clear answer.
She just pegs them.
I never got a clear answer to that question, but it was heavily implied the answer is no. Because there's one scene specifically, like at first they were like, oh, I don't really want to talk about like personal things, but then I kind of like just beat them down with my questions. But then at one point I was like, so what does like your guys' like lovemaking sessions look like? And I'm like, she's like, well, like as long as he like doesn't, like she said something about like as long as he doesn't touch me, which like you can't have sex without touching. So I'm like, okay, that kind of makes sense.
Wow.
Wow. That is.
Did they do like cucking shit? I could totally see them doing
that.
So
she admitted that. Yeah, he gets cucked and he loves that.
Wait, so she'll bang some dude in front of him.
Yeah,
he just sits there with his mask. I don't know. Maybe he takes off the mask and puts some lubricant in and starts jerking off in it. That's probably what it's there for.
He mentioned he also like he can't find a guy who's like just down enough. Like he's like, yeah, I want more guys to fuck her, but like sometimes I want to like do some borderline gay shit with the guy, and the guys aren't into it.
Oh.
He might be on the low, honestly.
I was gonna say I think a lot of guys would volunteer because
I know. I was just about to say,
then, but then that part comes out. Like, I don't know.
I'm like, oh yeah, you're gonna have to stay all the way on the other side of the room. Like I don't want you anywhere near close to me, slave boy.
Yeah. By the way, Karisma King, Prince O. Sorry. Nice to meet you for the first time. I'm Kevin. Hi.
Hey, good to meet you, man.
Karisma King. I know Avery very well, and yeah. So I was just doing like a tier list on my stream, and I remember I came across your content because you were doing like a tier list of the dating coaches and stuff. I thought it was really good.
That one got me in a little bit of trouble, which we don't have to get into that. But that one pissed off a couple people. It's not the point of it. I was giving people even like I was being really nice about my lower tier comments. I wasn't trying to be an asshole. Yeah. But some people took it as me being a complete douchebag. Was not the purpose of me making that content either. I was being.
Well, I thought it was fine, man. I mean,
was I on the tier list?
No, you weren't actually. I
Don't
don't know
answer
why.
that.
I'm not good enough to make your shitty little tier list. I see how
Yeah, I think I actually saw that
That is
video
not for you
too.
people.
You're gonna have to make an updated tier list now.
yeah.
Hey, I wouldn't mind actually. The
I
video.
probably didn't even have content back then. I think you did it a while ago.
Well, it was mainly around like infield and infield coaching. It wasn't like, which now you have infield. It actually, you could make the list now.
Okay.
Hmm.
I hope so.
Right on.
Uh,
If you don't put him in S tier, he's never gonna invite you back to the channel ever
Yeah.
again.
I better
So
be
be careful.
I want to actually be C tier, C for cuck,
Yeah.
or S for play. No, I mean like going back to the discussion. Yeah, I felt like there was like this was such a exaggerated. You know, sometimes you really need to see like an exaggeration for the point to be driven across. Like sometimes like a subtle example doesn't register unless like you're acutely aware. So I think this was a much more extreme example of like simping. And I will grant that there's a whole fetish aspect to it, which is, I think, in a way separate, but also tied. But a less extreme example of this guy is actually really common, way more common than people think. In fact, I would say it's more common than it is not common. I think more guys are on the simpy side than on the non-simpy side. That would be my speculation. But what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, guys have such a wide variety of different fetishes, and girls women usually fetishize being dominated, which I think says something about like a guy that wants to be simp, be a simp. Like you're taking on like a role that is going to make you inherently unattractive to a girl. I mean, if that's what you want to be, like you don't really care about getting higher quality women or getting women at all, you can go with that route. I do think it comes from a place of honestly not. So if you're not doing that well with women, you don't think you deserve them, or like you put like I think a lot of Disneyland kind of fucks guys up. Honestly, at the whole
I agree with that.
yeah, Disney is tough.
The blue pill.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. But
Yeah.
also another thing, I feel like a lot of guys really just don't have like the experience, or they don't know what's possible. I really think they're delusional. When it comes to simping, I see most girls I talk to, they have guys who want to send them money. They put their Tinder profile, put their cash up there. Guys always send them. Guys always buying them drinks at the bar. Guys always paying for every single thing. Like guys just naturally simp because they don't know anything else. And you're taught in this world, if you have money, you can get a girl. Or even like a lot of guys can't tell girls not to do stuff. A lot of guys are scared.
You know, the Sims ruin it for everybody, especially in Vegas, where it looks like you're at right now, Karisma King. This has happened all the fucking time. It happened to me while I was when I was going out with Avery too. It's like you have these like simpy dudes at their tables that spend like tens of thousands of dollars on the table or whatever. And then somehow there's some guy that works there and he just like goes around and tries to collect all of the hot girls to bring them in the VIP area or the table area. And then it's just like, yeah, so they literally ruin it for everybody else.
I do agree with that.
Annoying.
I think we should talk about actually all the different types of simping, because I think some guys might be confused.
Oh yeah, that's right. You have like the rich simp, the broke beta simp,
Yeah,
the OnlyFans simp.
So you can simp. So simping is usually people think it involves money, and quite often does, but not always. You can simp without any money being involved. For example, in that clip, I specifically asked them if finances was a part of their thing, and she's like, no. And he was like, I want to buy her stuff or something like that. Like, so you want to, but I guess she doesn't let him simp to the full extent of his like simpy hard. He's like, I just want to simp
I thought
more.
She said she was a fin dom, no?
She
like finance
is,
dom?
but not with him. Like with him, it's free basically.
Because he's so alpha, right?
Because
she makes an exception.
She said that because he does all her chores. So she said like, yeah, he does all my shit. It was funny. Also, there was one moment where I was talking about, do you realize, dude, there's a massive like discrepancy in caring. Like your whole world is built around her. You really care about her. If she left you, would be devastated. He's like, yes. I'm like, how would you think she would react if you left her? I look at her. How would you react? She'd be like, I mean, you know, I guess I'd have to train another slave then, but it's not a big deal because I have to do more. She literally was like me talking about like, what would I do if like fucking, I don't know, like fucking this podcast started 2 minutes late. I was like, well, it started 2 minutes late, you know, not a big deal. Like that was literally her reaction. Versus this guy would be like literally possibly even suicidal, like if she left him.
But isn't that part of the whole dynamic though?
Yes.
Of the dom sub dynamic of like,
oh no.
So maybe she was playing into that.
Oh, well, I don't think so. It really legitimately seems like she doesn't care. I sense like a mild, I picked up like a mild feeling of distaste and like disdain for the guy. Like she just, like there's no like, you know, if you watch me and my girlfriend, there's like affection and lovey-dovey. It's just like this, like she kind of like thinks he's pathetic too, basically. That's like the vibe I'm getting.
But that's what happens with a
Perfect.
lot
That
of
makes
guys.
it more
Simping.
authentic and real. That's exactly what he wants, right?
That's the sad part is that is true. But anyway, going back to like the different types of simping. So you can simp financially, and I want to be clear on this. Going out on a date with your girlfriend or buying a girl a drink doesn't make you a financial simp, right? Just one instance of like paying for a round of drinks is not simping. I think the real benchmark is, would you do this for a friend? So if you and your buddy who you haven't seen in a while are out at a bar, you would pick up like, oh, I'll get this round, you get the next round, or maybe you would even pay. Like that's something normal that would happen between friends. However, would you take your buddy clothes shopping and give him back to your credit card and let him buy like $10,000 worth of shit? No, right? So that's kind of I think the litmus test is like, would you do this for a friend? And if the answer is no, then you are simping financially. I think the next one is where there's a massive power imbalance where you care about the girl much more than she cares about you. And when it gets to a point like this where the girl literally could care less if you die and your whole world is built around her, then you are definitely in simp category. I think 3 can also be non-financial favors if you're doing things for her, like her laundry or doing errands for her or just being her bitch in any way. Like you're also falling in the simping category. So I think those are the 3 ones. I think also the 4th one is when you're putting her on any kind of a pedestal where you think she's special, she's above you, she can do no wrong. She's never guilty. Her time is more valuable than yours. Any form of pedestalizing is also simping.
Yeah, I was actually going to mention that last one because one thing I do see a lot, like I see this happen with guys who are shorter too. Like I was coaching someone. I remember his first text was always like, "Oh my God, you're so beautiful," or like, "Oh, you're the sunshine to something." It's always giving her outrageous compliments, and you could see that she would never really reciprocate to it, and he was just really putting her on a pedestal, putting her on a pedestal. That's one of the most common forms of simping that I actually see. Like guys just over validating her, thinking she can't do nothing wrong.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what this guy's attitude is. This girl can do nothing wrong. He literally said that verbatim many times.
Nah, but she's out here
She
fucking
doesn't
hell other
even
people.
poop. She doesn't even poop. She's so perfect. You know, I think we should talk about because do you guys think that there's some situations where simping like actually works? I'm not saying you should do it, but I honestly think that there technically is, from the standpoint of if you're dealing with an extremely narcissistic woman, or just really narcissistic people in general, they tend to be with partners that are less attractive than them because they want to feel like they're worshipped, right? So for example, even if a girl might really want Mr. Giga Chad as her boyfriend, there's no way that Mr. Giga Chad is going to worship her the same way, Beta Billy's going to. So yeah, like I've seen that a lot actually from both sides. Where I used to work for this plastic surgeon guy, not in plastic surgery or anything. I helped him open up a bunch of gym franchises. Super successful dude, multimillionaire. But then his girlfriend was like super, average looking, and I always thought that was kind of weird. And long story short, I found out this guy's like a huge narcissist later on. I think one of the big reasons why is because this girl would like do anything for him, as opposed to an attractive girl who, like, I guess knows her worth, want to do the same thing. And I think the opposite can happen too, where, because I've seen it before, where like you'll see guys with like pretty decent looking girlfriends that they're just very like beta and simpy and weird and just like cling on to them like a puppy, but they're still fucking them at the end of the day. I mean, for all we know, that's like it's just starfish and she doesn't reciprocate shit. But
I don't think so. I think my answer would be no, at least not long term. Maybe you could, through extreme simping, get a girl to sleep with you out of pity at one point, but you probably could have slept with her faster if you didn't simp. And also long term, like she's not going to respect you. Like at the end of the day, a woman is not going to respect a simp. And
look, I need to say this: I'm not condoning that behavior, but I'm just saying that I think
I think there's a reason. Wilder endorses simping.
Simp exposed. Well, I think we should dive into, because it's like, well, why is it so prevalent, right? Because if it literally doesn't work ever, then I don't think any guy would do it. But I think the fact that it does work sometimes is the reason why some people do it. But in my opinion, it's sort of like, well, at what cost, right? You're losing your self dignity, you're losing the respect, like you said, of the woman. But if it's a narcissistic woman, then she won't care whether she didn't really respect you that much in the first place. You know?
I think it's harder to not be a simp than to actually be a simp. I think being a simp is the easy way out. And I do think simping sometimes will get you some pussy. Like, I do believe someone needs to be alpha, someone needs to be the beta in a relationship. Sometimes a woman is, sometimes a guy is. But as Alex said, that's not sustainable long term. But I think the real reason why simping is happening is just simply easier. And if you do it enough time, you will get some pussy.
I've never heard of anyone getting pussy from simping, though.
It's all right.
I have. It's not the best way to do it, but
you can.
Go ahead, Karisma King. I want to know your thoughts.
So, like, a lot of guys, they feel like they're stuck at a certain level. So, like, they have this narrative in their head. They're like, I'm a pussy. A lot of guys, the majority of guys out there, like especially nowadays, with how big the gap is between, like, so most girls are going for the top, like, cream of the crop, the top 1%. And guys, like, so because there is such like a vastness between them and that person, they don't think they could ever get to that guy. So they think the only possible chance they have of getting that girl is to beg her and plead. They think there's no other way out for them. And not to mention, like, they're probably been a pussy their entire life because they've had this history of being a pussy. Now you have to tell them, hey, look, a girl wants to fuck a guy she respects. He's like, well, I can never be that guy. I'm this guy. And not to mention the backwards rationalizing that's just not me. And so I don't want to do that. Or they're going to tell themselves that I'm not an asshole. So I'm going to be a nice guy. I'm the nice guy. And they think that they're actually the good person for deciding to take this route as opposed to being an asshole or a guy that has self-respect, which is bullshit. It's stupid.
Yeah.
I think it has to do with there's many factors, but low self-esteem is usually part of it. Like, the guy doesn't think he's worthy of the girl. He legitimately thinks the girl is more desirable, more important than him. I think number 2 has to do with fear. The guy fears like getting rejected by just like, because if she rejects you while you simp, well, maybe you just didn't buy her enough and she's rejecting your resources. So maybe if you just make a little more money or you do her laundry a little better, right? But if you're putting yourself out there and you're not simping, like, she's either going for you or rejecting you, but it's like the real you that she's seeing. So I think there's also an element of fear that comes down to it. I think a lot of it is also guys just not knowing better. Like, they just think like, yeah, like in the movies, like all the movies encourage simping. Like, take a look at, you guys ever see Slumdog Millionaire?
Yeah.
Okay, like, I love that movie. Like, I think it's Danny Boyle's one of my favorite directors, but like the think about the plot of the movie. Like, that guy fucking Jamal Malik or whatever the fuck his name is, he's like the biggest simp ever. Like, there's this one chick that he has a crush on for like no reason. Like, she's the perfect girl. And then how many times does she reject him in that movie? And then when does he get her? Once he gets money and status, once he wins the fucking lottery or the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and he has the status, and that's when she comes to him. Like, the whole point of the movie is like, okay, simp, become really rich, and then maybe the girl will choose you. That's literally like the big takeaway. And it's not the only movie. Like, pretty much every mainstream movie indirectly or directly encourages something like that. So guys,
Hollywood is secretly extremely red-pilled, showing the reality of women.
But isn't it a favor for Hollywood to encourage that? That puts more money back into the economy. So that's why they would probably do that, and also makes men weaker. That benefits the economy.
Yeah. Well, also, like, you know, the guys who make those Hollywood type movies, they probably weren't the guys that were like killing it with girls, you know? So they end up projecting their fantasies onto the screen, and then that ends up perverting the minds of young men watching it.
I agree with that, Kevin. I think they're doing it maliciously. I think those guys at the very top who have the power to make movies, you know, they have status. I think most of them are doing just okay with It's the same reason why Drake, like, everyone knows Drake is a massive player, has fucked hundreds, if not thousands of girls, but he makes these like simpy songs about how he simps for a girl. But like, he does that just because he knows that's what his beta audience will fucking go for. Drake is clearly not a simp. And I think it's the same thing with the studio director. Like, I think they're probably doing all right. It's just they're like, oh, this is what the average person is into, because the average person is a massive fucking simp.
Well, Brad Pitt.
Do you think it's possible though? Oh, go ahead, Karisma King. Sorry.
Well, okay, Brad Pitt is like, all right, so Brad Pitt is like, thank God I get a date bitch like you. Thank God I get like you. You know, I'm so lucky to date you. But Brad Pitt can say something like that because Brad Pitt's fucking Brad Pitt. Like, I mean, any other guy that was to do the same thing, it's like the guy is some unobtainable object for women. And he's like, so girls like, well, I'm not gonna go fuck him because not gonna take me seriously. And then he's over here like, I'm crying in the shower, and like girls like, oh my god, maybe I have a chance. He's trying to like make himself more attainable for girls. The wider like range of girls will go for him. Like, but it's because he's so unattainable. Like other guys shouldn't be doing that shit. Though it's like comfort and attraction. He has too much attraction and no comfort, so he's actually adding more comfort, which no guy should be. Most guys should not be adding more comfort. Most guys should be adding more attraction. So it's it's just because he's so unattainable for most girls. So now he's trying to make himself more attainable.
But I think
I think it's possible too. Sorry, one thing really quick. I think it's possible too. A lot of these guys, because they become famous pretty young. I don't know about you guys, but I didn't like get good with girls until I was like 23, and so you get and a lot of these guys, especially if they become the young rappers or whatever, young actors, they become pretty successful at a young age. They don't really have to learn this stuff, so they probably hold on to that, for lack of a better word, that blue pill mentality, and they still succeed despite that. And so I think that explains why a lot of guys in Hollywood still end up like getting married. Like Jason Momoa, the dude's like literally Giga Chad himself, and he's married to like a single mom. Again, maybe she's a wonderful woman, don't get me wrong, but I think a lot of guys who are, if they were like red pill aware, they'd probably be acting a little bit differently if they were put in his position.
But
so
my argument to that is, though, when you start getting to a higher position where you get tons of girls, you really start seeing women for who they are. I feel like when you're not getting any girls, that's when you start acting delusional. Because I do remember when I was in a frat in college, I would see girls do crazy stuff. That's when I learned a lot of my red pill stuff, like seeing how girls will act for alpha chads like that. So I would imagine if they're a basketball player, rapper, it'd be to a whole nother level because they're usually around chads. So the chads probably treating girls disrespectfully because they're so famous. You can't tell me Magic Johnson's teammates were simping. They see what Magic was doing or Will Chamberlain. Yeah, that's my only argument to that.
good point.
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
what
we're like guys, so when you look at a hammer, you see it. When you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So we're all like dating coaches. So I think it's hard for us to look at a guy that's decides not to date like a 10 out of 10 model, because we obviously would, because that's our fucking job. Like maybe the guy's like super religious. Maybe he's just a lovey-dovey guy. Maybe he didn't want to go and fuck a lot of girls. Which, to be fair, maybe he already did put all this stuff out there. Like Prince said. Like I've been like that. Honestly, it's really hard finding a girl with an amazing personality nowadays. It might just be my city because I live in Vegas. I know Alex lives in Miami. The girls out there are not exactly intellectual geniuses. They're not exactly the most spiritual, loving individuals. They're a lot of them are users and takers, and a lot of them are very narcissistic. If you find a girl that's like truly and authentically a good person, like that's pretty cool. I mean, usually,
but that's not simping though. Like I have a girlfriend, that doesn't make me a simp. I don't simp for my girlfriend. I think that just being in a relationship is not in any way, simping. Right? You can be in a relationship and not be a simp. I think it's the how. Like, what are you doing? Are you fucking sucking up to your girlfriend? Are you putting her on a massive pedestal? Are you her bitch, or are you not? I think that's
I'm going a different direction with this, but also when it comes to simping, like, what about the guys who can't get any girls in America, so they go to Colombia, they go to Brazil? Majority of the time, those guys are spending money on girls. But that technically is simping, but it works.
If you're, but
maxing.
That's like it's like when
An
you
extreme case,
prostitute money. Like it works because she fucks you, but that's because of the money, right? So it's like, I mean, sure it works, but they're largely like at that point paying for sex. I think
so I could speak to that because I did live overseas in Asia. And for me, I moved over there to, because the cost of living was cheap. I could live like a king there while also operating my online business. But there's a lot of guys who have that mentality, and then they go out there, and let's say if they were seeing zero success back in the US, then when they go over there, they actually see zero success too, but it's cheap to pay for it. So either they can take on that simp, like actually be a simp and be like this, basically like a sugar daddy for only like, a few $100 a month, or they just pay for prostitutes a lot. So I know a lot of people think that like the location maxing thing is some sort of solution. If you're just trying to look and improve your dating life just from a purely hedonic standpoint of like, oh, I just want to bust nuts and fuck bitches and that's it, then maybe, but you're not going to feel very cool doing it, right? It feels you're gonna feel less cool. It's gonna destroy your self-esteem if you have to like pay for it. And honestly, if you're gonna do that, why not just stay in the US and like pay for it here?
Because
Maybe it's more expensive.
cheaper,
but,
it's
like,
cheaper over there. No, I mean, like I think if you have like a moderate, like even some level of game, you can definitely benefit from location maxing. But if you have no game, then yeah, I think
it's definitely easier. Yeah, I mean, it'll like if you're like a 5 in the US, you'll be like a 7 in like South America or Southeast Asia. So it's not like a drastic difference. You still have to be proactive though. It's not like you just land in Thailand and then all of these Thai hoes just like hop on your cock all at once. Like you still have to like at least say hi, you know, at least deal with like your approach anxiety and shit. But,
yeah, I do think though you can location maxing isn't by default simping. Like you go into a different country and fucking a bunch of chicks there is not simping. It's only simping if you're paying the money, right? So
I think it's simping if you move only for girls and that's it. Because then you're basically saying, okay, well, I'm going to move my entire life and whole lifestyle to this certain country just for pussy, right? I don't know. I think that's not just simping for a specific girl. That's simping for like women in general.
But guys move from small towns to big cities all the time for women, though, because they have more. I don't fully agree with that.
Yeah,
but is it only just that? Like if they probably want more of a lifestyle and stuff too, right?
Yeah.
Again,
but that's I think any guy who moves to like Colombia or something isn't just thinking just pussy. He's like, yeah, it's gonna be fun.
I don't know, man.
I'm gonna be like, at least maybe that's how they.
The ones that I know.
I don't know. I mean,
there are honestly so many ways to pick up a girl. All right, so this is a really weird one. So if you want to like, you can actually you could be a simp and pick up a girl, but you have to make her take actions as if it's almost like make her take enough actions that make her think and backwards rationalize that she likes you. So action feeds ego, which is basically who you think you are, your sense of identity, but then it feeds back into your action again. So if you make a girl take enough actions that says that she likes you, even if you're not doing anything structurally correct in the ways in which you're picking up a girl. So you're buying her food, you're doing all this shit. She's going to backwards rationalize that she likes you. If she has a lot of guys, like, so I known girls who will go to so I've dated a lot of strippers, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on, what sect of society you're in. For me, I know I have some female friends that because like so many Indian guys, like not a cool Indian guy. These are not cool Indian guys. These are like the weird ones that come over from India that are very creepy and they get super hard for an ankle. Well, because so many
Bob's or Vagana.
I get hard for an ankle.
Show Vagana, please.
Well, because the Indian guys would keep like buying them like lap dance, giving them a lot of money and like paying them really well. The girls would sometimes eventually backwards rationalize that these creepy guys that have no game whatsoever, they must like. So because the action keeps getting taken, now they have a fetish for Asian guys because like they keep taking the actions for the Asian guys. So there is a way to make it work, but it's like there's different types of attraction, ways of attracting people. It's not any which way something that guys should use as a strategy by itself. It's a trash ass strategy. And it's super inefficient. It's super creepy, honestly, but it can work.
So if you got super deep pockets and you're a high value man, then you should use the high value man strategy of just keep throwing money at the problem until the problem ends up getting attracted to you and having sex.
It's a better way to be a respectable guy. So girls fuck guys they respect. Girls go for guys they respect. They go for masculine entities. That is like by far the best strategy. And like you should, if you're one of those guys that is acting like that, you should definitely learn how to be a respectable guy or a masculine entity. If you're not that guy, and you're trying this strategy out, you're watching this podcast, you're like typing it down like frantically as the new strategy you're going to try out. Don't, please, for the love of God, don't. I don't want to hear this in like the forms of like some dark red pillar being like, I figured out the new strategy. This becomes some bullshit like that. Don't do this, please, for the love of God. Like actually figure out how to change your personality to become attractive. Girls get attracted to personality and personality status. Status is fucking huge. It's not just like your car or some shit like that. It's like the way that you move, the way you speak, the way you look at her, the way that you can like fucking like put your foot down because you have respect for yourself. The girls want to date a guy above them in value, not at or below them in value. They want to date a guy above them in value. That's what every girl wants.
Yeah, I would agree. I like this comment. Simping is an unfair value exchange. That's a good way of putting it. Putting somewhere else for women is not simping because you're getting something in return. Yeah, I think that's a good way of describing it. It's an unfair value exchange. Exactly. Or you're giving more value than you're getting. I think that's like a pretty primitive.
I guess that's just the semantics thing. Like for me, simping is mostly just putting it's the mindset of putting women on a pedestal as if they're above you, or putting not just that, it's that, but then also just putting them at way too high of a value, right?
Yeah.
So if you're like the whole thing of like putting the pussy on the pedestal, like I consider that simping.
But then isn't dating in general for most guys an uneven value exchange? Because most guys are the ones planning a date, texting the girls, pursuing the girls, and all they really getting is some box or some pussy. I mean, that isn't really versus what the guys have to do versus what women have to do is not really that even a value exchange.
I see your point. You have to do a little bit more upfront than the girl, but after sex happens, you shouldn't have to do more than the girl. In fact, she usually starts doing more for you.
Yeah, guys have an easy time of the back end. So girls have an easy time of the front end, which is sex. And then the hard thing that girls usually have is like tying down the bad motherfucker. But the problem is this. So we take on, like, guys are more of like we take risks. We're risk takers. So we're either like super suicidal and poor as fuck, or we're super successful. And so we're the roll of the dice. Whereas girls have more of a stable type of dating, where like if you have a vagina, you will get a boyfriend. If you're a guy, there's no guarantee of sex. If you're good at getting sex, though, then you start getting options. You start getting more girls, and you have your choice of which girl do you want to fuck, which girl do you want to date seriously, and you got to dictate the rhythm of the dating. So girls have an easy time of the upfront, which is sex. Guys have an easy time in the back end if you can get sex. If sex gets easier for you, the easier sex is, the easier the back end gets.
All right, now that's a valid answer.
Yeah,
that is a valid answer.
I want to play a clip from actually I saw on Donovan's channel. I think you reacted to this, Kevin, and I found this clip pretty funny. I think Donovan.
Is it one of the cringy skits that he does?
Yeah, I think Donovan truly shows us what simping is.
Good old Donnie Sharp.
I'm not sure. Maybe have the guys over to watch the game later.
It looks so unnatural. I don't know. Maybe have the guys over to watch the game.
It's just Donovan tried to like relate to his boomer audience, because I'm convinced that's the only guys that watch him.
Guys, go out and have some fun.
Are you sure? You've always had a problem with that.
I was being stupid.
Okay. I'll call up my boys then.
I'll call up my boys.
Okay, honey, I'm going out with the girls. How do I look?
Wait, what?
Me and Kim are going to Cheaters.
What the French toast?
What you just witnessed is what's called the reverse permission trick.
Oh wait, where's the one where he talks about the money? I want to see the money one.
Oh,
Really
yeah. I think it's like the girl doesn't want to have sex with him or something.
Yeah,
the girl doesn't want to have sex with you or something.
Sex. Okay.
If you don't have sex with me, then I am not required to give you my resources.
That's the one I want to see.
Oh, that's wild.
Where's?
He actually said that, or was it a joke?
Yeah. No.
no.
It's like a skit that they have. It's hilarious.
But he was serious when he was saying that, or he was joking?
He was.
Dead serious, man.
Wow. He like tried
the whole point of the red pill is to like they call that beta boxing.
I hate you.
No, that's not it.
Just go on his main. It's a pretty recent video, I think.
Okay.
So go on his main, like on his channel page, and then go under videos.
Okay.
And it should be one of the ones, because that's how I found it. I know he posts a decent amount, but let me try to see. I think it's she stopped putting out and this happened. I'm pretty sure it's that one.
Yeah. Although I think if I was with his girlfriend, she stopped putting out, I would be happy. If anything, I'd be like, oh, thank God.
Can you fix the garbage disposal for me?
I don't feel like it.
Oh,
Hey,
echoing.
can you iron my shirt?
What?
Echo. You and your lack of headphones.
Here, can you pull this up on your end, Kevin, and share the screen?
It'd be tough for me because I'm technically streaming your guys' image onto my thing.
Put the link in the
chat.
chat.
It has to be somebody else.
All right, let me put it on. Let me put the link in there. Okay. This is fucking hilarious. Okay, I'm gonna private chat it. Okay. Oh fuck.
Yeah, it's just really
carry
weird
on
and
while I do
transactional. It's like, okay, technically, if we try to base it down in logic as much as possible, then yeah, maybe there's always going to be some sort of value exchange with everything.
Okay, here you go, Prince.
All right, let's see. Give me a second.
If you have to like explain it to your woman, Like, here
It's a
are the 5
private
reasons that you're required to have sex with me. Like, I don't know. You guys will have to see it. It's just fucking hilarious.
You guys see it. Did you get it?
Yeah. Can you guys see my screen?
You just got to add it to the screen. Hang on. There we go.
You added it to the screen?
Yeah.
All right, give me.
What are you running, like fucking DSL internet or something?
I have to use my old laptop. Yeah.
All because you don't have headphones, Alex.
I could find some if necessary. Why is it like not? It's like not really playing. It's laggy.
I think you have to enable the.
Oh, is it lagging?
When you share it? No. So when you share it, it should say
shit.
enable audio. So make sure you enable the audio.
Let me see if I can. Okay, there we go. I found some.
You found some?
Is that so hard, Alex?
I never use headphones. All right, cool. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, we can't see you, but we can hear you.
The headphones. Never mind. Hang on a second.
You just look like one of those black pillars that are afraid to show their face now, but are really, really tough shit behind their avatar.
God, now I gotta start my camp. I fucking hate tech issues. What about
the black pill?
Okay, there we go. Now I'm back. But
what do we think of the black pill? Well, in terms of like looks theory, I'm fine with that. I mean, I think looks matter the most, in my opinion. Not to say that doesn't denigrate game by any means. I look at game and looks as like, if you imagine it's like a football game, right? You have offense and defense. So defense is looks, offense is game because it's more proactive. So if you have a lot of offense but zero defense, like you're probably still going to lose like all the time, right? Yeah. So you can have a bunch of game, but if you just look awful, then I don't think it's going to work that well. But this is where I do disagree with most black pillars. I think the amount that you can looks max, a lot of it's in your control. There's a ton in your control.
Well, they say it's not in your control.
Pretty much.
Oh, well, I mean, there's some obvious things like height and everything, but they think most black pillars think, for example, that your face is your face and that's it. And like technically, yes, but also if you lose a lot of body fat from your face, like even just taking myself as an example, me at 20% body fat versus me at 10% body fat, like I go up 2 points just in my face.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of guys are that way too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should be able to play it now. Let me know if you can hear this.
No.
You guys
we can hear it. We're good. Yeah,
no, the
perfect.
fuck you didn't.
Hey, can you please take out the trash?
You know how to take out the trash, don't you?
That's fine. I know.
Hey, can you do some laundry today? We don't have any more clean towels.
You know how to do laundry, don't you?
What the French toast?
Man, I'm tired. Could you walk the dog soon?
I could, but I'm not. Man, I'm starving. Can you start dinner soon?
I could, but I'm not.
Oh, hell no!
Hey, can you help me with this project?
No.
Come on.
Let me know when the
project is important to
can't
me.
hear anything.
Yes, I do, but I don't owe you help. Hey, can we do it tonight?
No.
Come on, you know sex is important to me.
Pause
Yes,
it really
I do,
quickly.
but I don't owe you sex.
Really, nigga?
Ask yourself.
Okay. Yeah.
Wait, so you can't hear what they're saying, Alex?
No, but I've seen this video, so I can.
So that was the part where Donovan was like, "Hey, can we do it tonight?" And then she responds with, "No, I can't because I'm really tired, bro."
Of course she's not going to.
I don't know about y'all, but I don't think
act.
I've ever had to any relationship I've ever been.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever had to be like, "Hey, can we have sex?"
It's like I know.
I really want to have sex tonight. Can we have sex, please? It's like, what? No, that's already where you're fucking up there.
I
know. You just I don't know. I'm sure you guys agree, right?
I completely agree. I've never had to.
I can't even imagine that. Hey,
can we have sex tonight? Like when you have a girlfriend, you just like fucking come up to her, start kissing her neck, and then you have sex. Like you don't have to ask.
Yeah.
And
can we do it tonight?
Even when it was the first time, girl, you should never ask. You should just try to do it and see what goes from there.
Yeah. All right, so let me keep playing this.
This, ladies.
Would you want to cook, clean, or have sex with your man if he refused to share his money, energy, attention, and time with you?
Of course not.
So why is it a problem then for a man to stop doing what is expected of him if his woman has stopped doing what is expected of her?
If it's not toxic to withhold sex because he's withholding his resources.
Then why is it toxic when we withhold our resources when they withhold their bodies?
Simple. Modern women think their lady parts are more valuable than his resources, protection, or companionship.
Relationships are supposed to be a value for value exchange.
You're exchanging your sexual loyalty and willingness to cook and clean.
For his time, energy, attention, and resources.
Never mind that you've given your body to a bunch of guys.
You still think you're actually doing him a favor by giving him something you've already shared with countless men.
And then you act
Let me
like
know
it's
when
a
the part
crime when
comes.
he flips the script.
No, women do not owe us sex.
But men don't owe us their resources either.
However, you can't expect a man to share his resources with you.
If you are unwilling to share your body with him,
Modern women always want something for nothing.
you want the hot body without diet and exercise.
You want respect from men without the sexual temperance.
You want a man to give you his time, attention, energy, and money.
Without cooking, cleaning, or giving him regular sex.
But then get mad when men walk away?
Look, if you're the type to overvalue your lady parts, that's fine.
Nobody is forcing you to do anything that you don't want to do.
But do not expect men to sign up for this nonsense.
Expecting him to uphold his end of the bargain 100% of the time,
But then reserving the right to withdraw your physical affections at any time for any reason
then get upset that he's reciprocating your effort.
is something we ain't doing anymore.
And ladies, stop with the headache excuse. Sex is actually good for
Just,
headaches.
I can't
You
even
should
hear
try
anything but so
sometime.
far. Just talking about it. That was it. Right?
That's it.
The program. Yeah. So basically, I found this so hilarious how he thinks it's like. Let me take this shit out. How he thinks it's like that trait that you want this to be like a transactional type of thing, which is literally zero different than having a sugar baby. Like what he's describing is having a sugar baby.
It's beta
This is
bugs.
not, it's not called being in a relationship. It's called having a sugar baby. And basically, like you're giving the girl.
these guys? This came out actually. I think a little bit before the announcement.
Fucking roll just jumped on the screen. Yeah, when you're like, it's like you're basically paying. You're giving the girl your money so that she has sex with you, but it relies on this very beta assumption that sex is something for the guy, not for the girl. In every relationship I've ever been in, the girl wants to fuck me when I want to fuck her. So usually, this in any relationship I'm in, the sex is generally something that's for the girl. It's like a joke. Like I reward the girl by fucking her. I'll be like, oh, if you give me a good massage, I'll fuck you tonight. Like I'm not totally serious, but like if anything, it's almost the opposite way around. But with all these guys, they think like, oh, sex is for the guy, right? Because they can't fuck for shit either. And that, you know, what she's getting from me in return is money, right? Which again is having a sugar baby. So I don't know how he can even like.
Well, it's just diving into that old timey, 50s stereotype of gender roles and shit. I'm not one of those people that says like, oh, gender roles are toxic. I'm not going to go all leftist and shit on you. Don't worry. But like, I just find it very funny that he just looks at it exactly like a transactional thing.
Like a
It's
sugar
like,
baby.
you give me the sex, I give you the resources.
And
But look, it doesn't surprise me. Sorry, one more thing really quickly. It doesn't surprise me that, because Fresh and Fit, like they consider Donovan like their mentor, and they always make videos of like the woman's pleasure is irrelevant. Well, it makes sense that they think the woman's pleasure is irrelevant when you watch shit like that, because they literally think like, oh, well,
They probably don't even know a woman likes
pleasure.
sex.
Yeah, exactly. They're acting as if it's like a chore for the woman to like fuck.
Yeah, like Marin's having sex with a girl. He's like, what is this noise you're making? It sounds like it's like some kind of pleasure. Wait, wait, I'm confused. Is this enjoyable for you? I just kind of thought this was.
I'm not hard anymore. I lose my boner when you have fun.
You're having fun. She's like, well, not anymore.
She's probably
I was
attracted.
trying to, but yeah, no, can't.
She's probably just not like getting wet for you anymore. I mean, like it's probably just, like you're probably losing your masculinity. Like anytime I've ever talked to a guy where the girl's no longer fucking him, he's usually being really simpy, for example. And then like, of course, she's not gonna fuck you because you're no longer the man. And then she loses like that attraction for you. I mean, there's a lot of things that would be going wrong too. A girl could be in her head, or she could be like, girls are very, very into like emotions. Surprise, surprise. So like if a girl wants to come, like where a guy can come like pretty easy, but if a girl, like for example, like you guys have probably heard it where a girl says
I would not be able to come pretty easy with a girl like that, man.
Fair enough. Well, it's like pretty straightforward for a guy where it's a lot more physical. A girl will get in her head and then she can't come. Like a lot of times when a girl has a hard time coming during sex because she gets too in her head and she overthinks it. And then because she overthinks it, now she can't come. And so if her man isn't providing her a place for her to relax or get into like a good headspace to have sex, she's going to start being like, I have a headache, or I do this or I do that. I'm no longer attracted to you. I no longer get wet for you. Girls are very emotional for sex. Sex for a girl is very emotional. as opposed to, like, we're
That's a really good point. Yeah, because like the examples that he put up beforehand, before they went to like, oh, can we do it tonight? It was literally them having like a combative sort of relationship, in the sense of like, oh, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this. So like, it makes sense that automatically she's turned off. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Hey,
And
Dude,
then
I might have to make like a mock whatever roast video to this, like where I do like a joke skit with Natty, where I'll like literally be Donovan. Hey, babe, can we do it tonight?
You got to do the eyebrow raise. Hey, babe, can we
do it
tonight?
I want to put it in your vagina.
And just have Rhaegar come in and AMOG you.
The crazy part is, it doesn't have to be transactional at all. How he makes it seem like when girls really attracted to you, son, she'll come over, fuck you. You don't even have to pay nothing. She'll just vibe with you. She'll want it.
A little bit attractive.
Yeah. Like, when you start making it transactional, like, okay, I'll take you on a date. We go here. I give you money. We do this. That's when she stops wanting to fuck you. That's when she just gets unattracted to you. It becomes a job to her, a chore.
Yeah, that's like the big problem with like a lot of like that crowd, Donovan, Fresh and Fit. Like they all see this stuff so transactional, but then at the same time, they say that, oh, you should never pay for sex. So it's just like this weird paradox that exists in their head, where they see dating as so transactional, but they don't think you should pay for it. Right? It's like, well, what the fuck do you think you're doing when you're giving her money and she's giving you sex? Do you think you're paying for her love?
Yeah, I think what it is, girls are going to treat guys they respect and, for lack of a better word, look at as alphas. They're going to treat them differently than guys that they consider to be like beta males, right? 100%. So I think that's part of the big problem of the red pill is it's a bunch of these beta male dudes sharing their beta male experiences and be like, oh my God, all women just act like this. Like, no, women just act like that toward you, bitch. It's like, you keep especially if you hear stories of women treating other guys differently, but then all the women treat you in a certain way. Maybe the problem is you and not the women. You ever thought of that, bro? And so I think the red pill, unfortunately, although there are some truths to be found in it, a lot of the content creators, especially such as Donovan, right? I think for them, genuinely, sex has always been some sort of transactional thing because that's the way that the girls always viewed them. So they just assume that this is how women are.
Dude, Donovan was so confused during our debate. He's like, wait a second. You're telling me that in your relationship, your girlfriend is having sex with you and you're not giving her anything in return? He like sounded as if I told him that like I'm fucking my girlfriend is from Mars. Like, wait a second. This is well, and then he was like, well, maybe you have like a 12-inch cock, Alex, or there's something crazy going on about you, man. But in a normal relationship, I'm like, dude, like my relationship is the normal one. Your one is the one that's not normal. When you're fucking having to bribe your girl into fucking you. But he was like so legitimately surprised when I said that. He's like, whoa, hang on. My head explode, dude. You're saying that your girlfriend wants to have sex with you, like without anything in exchange? Like she enjoys it? Like she gets pleasure from it? He was like so confused. I'm like,
that says all you need to know, man.
I didn't even know how to respond to that. Like, part of me wanted to like destroy him in the debate, but part of me wanted to like give him a hug and tell him that like it doesn't have to be this way. Like, yo, dude, like you don't need to like do this. Like, you don't need to like fucking pay. Your girlfriend's like a 3-man. Like, you shouldn't need to bribe her into having sex with you. Like, it's just
it's kind of like when somebody just like is so like in disbelief about a certain thing that just kind of shows their ignorance on that topic. And it's so cringe. You almost don't want to point it out to them. It's like when a guy's like, wait, girls don't pee out of their vagina? What? It's like, no. Okay. So like it's one of those situations. It's just like, I don't know. It's almost like you don't want to ruin it for Donovan. Did you explain to him afterwards? It's like that you're the norm and he's.
I did that during the debate. I said that, but he was he kept going back to the. Maybe you have a 12-inch cock. Like he said that like multiple times. I don't have my cock is average size. Thank you very much. Like I don't have like a. This has nothing to do with my cock. This has everything to do with my mindset. Like the
entire debate was just Donovan trying to find out how big your dick is.
That's
the whole point. Everything you guys debated just led up to that point.
I'm gonna just tell me when to stop. Just tell me when to stop. I'll keep going. Keep going. God, oh my God! It's a monster.
The crazy part is cock size is like if it's bigger, it hurts a lot of times to girls. Like 12-inch cock, that shit's overrated.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine.
Of course, the one black guy on the panel.
He's just trying to make us feel better.
Listen, we
trying to
wouldn't
make
know
us feel
anything
better.
about that prompt, Prince, okay? We've never experienced that issue, okay?
Yeah. It's like, don't you hate it when you're fucking a girl and you just started and she's in so much pain because her cock is so huge? I'm like, yeah, I can totally relate to that. I hate when that happens.
That's a problem on the reg. Yeah. Let me just address this comment. At least Donovan had the balls to be Kevin even when he had 9K subs. Shouldn't you bash guys? No, I do. I will fully acknowledge. I give Donovan massive credit for debating me and Kevin. He definitely gets. I even took down the video I had of him on my channel. It's just like this latest video that he put up was just too good for me not to mock. I mean, he's literally just directly saying that you should trade money for sex, which again is like literally the pinnacle of having a sugar baby relationship. So it's like I want to not make fun of Donovan, but he just like makes it impossible for me. Like it's like
Wait, you deleted the debate off of your channel?
No, not the debate. The initial video, I had a video where I was just making fun of him for like 10 minutes straight.
Oh, got it.
I did that video
Got it,
out
okay.
of respect.
All right, fair.
Yeah, no, I would never delete that.
But he is also older. Older guys have like that age range. They have a whole different mentality.
Bro, my dad is 56. He's dating and he's not fucking simping.
Like,
my
dad was a simp.
I think my dad's girlfriend is younger than Donovan's too. But yeah, like no, like if you had told my dad, like, oh, should you like, Dad, would you like pay blah blah blah? I don't want to give his girlfriend's name, but let's call her F. Would you give F money for sex? He'd be like, what are you talking about? He's like, I'm not the Russian simp. Like he would fucking balk at that idea. He doesn't even know what the word simp means. But he'd be like, no. Yeah.
That makes no sense. Why would I do that?
It's a way easier strategy than actually learning how to be different, because this guy's been like a loser his entire fucking life. Can you imagine this guy all of a sudden trying to turn into like a boss with a girl? Like he's been this fucking loser his entire life. So he's like, well, instead of doing something like that, how about just pay them? Because he probably makes it at his age, he probably makes enough money to where that's viable. When you get older too, it's so hard to change your personality. Like if you want to become like a boss with a girl, you want to start becoming more of a man. That is so fucking difficult because you just have years and years of just being the same fucking person. And you have to go through so much ego death and so much pain to have to change. Dude, why not just start paying women?
Yeah, I see your point. Yeah.
Well, it's hard. That guy's never going to change.
Okay, so hold on. It's one thing to be that way. It's another thing to teach that to other guys online, though, right? So
the thing is that Donovan is also in denial. I have no problem with a guy being honest, being like, "Hey, listen, man, like I don't got time for this game shit. I got a lot of money. I'll just pay for it." I think that's fine. Everyone's entitled to do that. I have much more respect for that guy than the guy who's in denial and thinking that he's actually running game on the girl by giving her money for sex. Like, and that's what Donovan is, a full-on denial mode, where he thinks that he's like doing some kind of game, and that's how relationships are supposed to be, rather than the fact that he's literally a sugar daddy.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's trying to find a reasoning. So he's trying to find rationality for his worldview to keep working. I've had times where there was actually a big YouTuber where he's very red pilled, and we were out. My
names
pulled, huh?
Names.
I get it, dude. I like the guy to some extent. His YouTube channel blew up, and I don't want to be that way with him because I see him all the time out and about. Well, I went out with him, and my wing already pulled, and so I'm out there by myself. I'm like, hey, you kind of game too. Let's go. I've seen you out and about. And so I start going with him. I start making out with girls. And as this is going on, his brain, you see him like kind of like the gears were turning and he's trying to figure this shit out. And he's like, you know what? Actually, you're a good looking guy. I was wrong all along. And then every time like something would happen, he would try to fit everything into his worldview. So if you see a homeless guy on the ground, how does that guy rationalize his way of being to keep himself confident without killing himself? He's like, everybody else is a fucking loser because they're all in the system. They're all in the system. And I found my way out of the system. I'm the one that's actually the cool one. All these guys walking around, they're actually the homeless people. So that's how he's rationalizing his shit. And so he actually thinks by him spouting this shit, he's the one that figured it out. And we're the fucking like paupers. We're the homeless people. We're the ones that don't figure it out. We think that we're the ones that are scamming people.
That's a good point. So basically, he's almost sort of deluded him. He's started to believe in his own delusion. Yeah,
exactly. He's delusional. Maybe we're delusional. Maybe we're the delusional ones.
Well, I do think there's one misconception that I think that in the red pill community, they think that the guys who are like successful financially can be simps. But actually, quite often what I see is almost the other end of the spectrum. The richer the guys are, the more simpy they are. If I had $1 for every rich simp I saw, I would be a fucking multimillionaire. Like, vast majority of like loaded rich guys who you think are high value are actually massive simps. I see this time and time again with chicks I bang off seeking, and they tell me some story about some rich loser that paid them $20,000 to fucking step on their balls to like walk all over his nuts while she's here like getting fucking Salt Daddy by me.
Miami is different.
I mean, that happens in every city, bro. But like, that shit like blows my mind. But yeah, like a lot of these like rich dudes that these like red pill guys worship as high value men are actually massive simps.
Yeah, that's why I always the whole thing of high value. I think you should try to make money for the sake of, you know, just wanting a good life or whatever. But
Yes.
you start to try to make money for the sake of girls. All of a sudden, man, it's really what you're doing is you're just collecting money for some gold digger to take from you later on. That's really all you're doing. That's why, one of the reasons why it's important to just learn game when I guess you're poor.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to say.
loaded.
The best time to learn game is when you're broke, because then you're trying to figure out how to handle certain obligations, how to get her back to her place when you have no car, how to smash her in the car when you have no crib. Like, you learn so much game when you broke, because that's literally all you have time for. But then when you get rich, you start having money, you start just using different ways of your money to get girls.
Yeah, money is 100% not necessary for getting laid. I used to, like, when I used to live in my shitty ass apartment in Koreatown, I used to live in a house with 10 bedrooms. I had 10 roommates. It was in the ghetto of ghetto in Koreatown in LA. There was a fucking fence around my house because there's homeless people that would walk around like zombies at night. It was like the sketchiest house ever. To paint the picture, one day one of my roommates, who was a guy, beat the shit out another one of my roommates, who was a girl. This man like attacked this woman. You want to know for what? Laundry. She left her laundry in the laundry machine for too long. Like, that's the kind of fucking ratchet ass shit going on in that house. And I was still banging like 3-4 chicks a week, which is way more than I'm banging now, because now I'm like too focused on like fucking the business part. So I would say, if anything, money can hold you back, because when you have a business, there's a lot of work that's involved. Versus when I was broke and I had nothing else to do, I was banging way more girls. So this idea that money like helps you get girls is only true if you're paying for it. But unless you're directly paying for sex, money doesn't help you really get girls. Unless you're like a billionaire and then you're in a completely different league because of social status. But unless you're like Elon Musk or something like that, money's not really going to help you get girls.
Mm-hmm. I think it can help assist it, but it won't, like, it's not the thing that's going to help you get there, if that makes sense. It's kind of like, okay, so I had a podcast with David Bond. I'm sure you guys know who he is. So he was talking about how like guys get it confused. And I thought he's totally right about this. It's like, girls just want to have fun, right? So the fun is sort of unlimited if you have the money to like make things go more fun. So for example, if you're just some broke motherfucker, right? You go to dinner, I don't know, let's say you split the bill or you pay for it, doesn't matter. But then like you can't afford to like go do other things. And then at that point, you know, let's say that she's not invested enough yet for you to just like try to pull her back to your place, then you just like fuck it up right there. You know what I mean?
I think it just requires basic creativity. Like, I never had an issue pulling or keeping my like girls entertained when I was dead broke, when I literally couldn't.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like in certain situations where there is some sort of money involved, like I'm not saying that you need that, but it's more so you can have a ceiling for fun if you're just thinking about money all the time. When you don't have to think about money at all, there's no ceiling on the fun, if that makes sense. So that was kind of his point.
Yes and no, but sometimes actually what can work to your disadvantage is if you are like, you know, when you say fun, you mean like, you know, activities, right? Like, but if the activity is like really fancy, something that's expensive, the girl can look at that and be like, oh wow, you know, this guy seems perfect. I don't want to fuck it up by banging him too early. Versus if you're broke, there's really not much to do. It's like, oh well, I guess we might as well fuck, because that's the funnest thing we can do. The other option is to go to McDonald's. So we can either go to McDonald's or we can fuck. Fucking is probably more fun than that, right? So, but it can almost, I think, work in the opposite direction.
But I kind of see what Kevin's saying too. Like with certain demographics of girls, like certain girls might not want to go on a coffee date, come straight to your crib, or a hiking date. They might want something better than that, maybe drinks or something more interesting than that. Like depending if your game and looks isn't all the way there. Even with games, sometimes if your looks isn't all the way there, you might not be able to get girls to come out for the first thing for certain dates.
Yeah.
Wait, but you have a 12-inch cock, Prince. How's that a problem?
They don't know that till they come back to my
Send them a
crib.
picture, dude.
There's so many different factors to this. So like confidence is such a big so confidence matters a lot in terms of how much it attracts girls. And you can get to the point to where you get delusional. I actually used to train myself to be delusional to where I go out and I was like, I believe I was like a god, but it's really hard to make yourself feel that way when you have nothing going for you. Like I was pulling girls to this 2000 Toyota Camry. I fucked actually 60 girls in a year in this Toyota Camry when I was more broke. But the more money that I had, the more that I accumulated success, the easier it was to build this onto like a strong foundation. The easier it was to start believing that I was that person. It's
that,
not really,
that I agree with. Yeah.
Yeah. It also there's different types of attraction too. So there's like the biological attraction, but there's also there's logical attraction. There is societal attraction. Logical and societal attraction matter a lot with this. So
Can you explain what each one of those is real quick?
Sure. So like societal's like society says I should go for this kind of guy. Like they see Jason Momoa and a guy looks like Jason Momoa. Oh, that's Jason Momoa. And then because that guy looks similar to Jason Momoa and they have a crush on Jason Momoa, they're gonna be more likely to want to fuck him. Or maybe they have a crush on a guy. Maybe some guy fucked the shit out of him. Or some guy was super high value in her social circle. Have you ever had a girl be like, "My God, you look just like my friend Kevin," and Kevin turns out to be like the attractive guy in their social circle, and like now they're even more into you. Like that's more like the societal. And then logical is like logically, I'm supposed to go for this type of guy. Logically, I should be like into this kind of person. So it helps back up the emotional. So sometimes like if you're like in a super like kick-ass, badass kind of mentality, so you know how to look at the girl in a seductive way, you know how to move, that turns the girl on. Well, that shit eventually maybe that shit won't always be there. Maybe you'll feel like a bitch eventually. Well, the logical side will help out a lot in keeping the attraction there because she'll be logically attracted to you. It also could be like a portion of investment. So again, action ego. She invests in you, which is what a relationship is. She invests over a period of time. And then because she's invested so much, she has her ego invested. Not only is she her own person, she sees her with you. Like basically like that's actually what a breakup is. One of the hardest parts of a breakup is ego death. Because it's not just you now. You see yourself intertwined with this other person. You're not just yourself. You're also this person. You are the relationship. So the second it breaks up, you have an ego death, and it causes a lot of. There's so many different factors to this, but a big part of this, if a guy has like a lot of things, a nice house, has like all the success, logically she can back it up and be like, oh, this guy is fucking like the guy I'm supposed to be go for anyways. She likes you a lot. She goes back home. It's a badass place, and it makes it a lot easier for her to like go and brag to you to her friends.
Okay. I think I that's an interesting way of putting it. But I agree with what you said.
Yeah.
I've never heard anyone put it that way actually, but yeah.
I like it though.
Yeah,
At first, when you said logical attraction, I thought it was just like the Walter Weeks Fresh Prince CEO method. It was like, guess what my net worth is? I'm a high value man.
I'm just trying to imagine Karisma King trying to sell his fucking Camry and like someone gets in it like, oh man, this is like really sticky. Like what would you spill some coffee? He's like, yeah, well, you know, I banged 60 chicks in this car last year, so my semen is literally everywhere. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it had stains on the ceiling when
don't worry, the semen comes with a car, so you don't have to pay extra for that.
I used to be a lot bigger of like I used to be really bad with girls. I used to be really shy, and then I started getting slowly better and better with girls. I'm still getting better with girls, and then I went a little bit overboard because all of a sudden I was starting to have sex, not with the quality girls I necessarily wanted to at that time. They were like maybe like at the top like a 7 or like maybe even an 8 if I was really lucky, and so I just went fucking ham. Like you're talking about fucking like 3 to 4 girls a week. I was pretty much doing that. I just couldn't stop. I became a sex addict for a while, and I had to like learn how to slow it back a little bit.
Yeah. Well, did the fun kind of wear off for you? Because I stopped getting those dopamine highs from banging you chicks. That's probably the biggest reason. Like the reason I do anything is for fun, for pleasure. But the reason we humans do anything is for pleasure. But the dopamine highs started like wearing off for me, so that's why I slowed down. Did that happen to you too?
I'm still a big. To be fair, I still have a little bit of sex addiction problems. But like the thing is, I've been finding now is if the girl isn't hot enough, I can't even get hard for her. Like I don't mind her giving me a blowjob, but if she's not hot enough, I can't even get hard for her. Like so, I honestly I can't fuck anybody less below an 8 now. Like a 7 and 8, I couldn't even get hard for her.
Well, what it is for me is I still get the flow state type of experience from having sex, and it does have to be with an attractive girl. Like I can't get into a nice flow state from fucking like a 6 or something. It has to be a girl I'm attracted to and their sexual chemistry. So that I still get, but I used to get these like dopamine highs from just the accomplishment aspect of banging a girl. Versus I don't really get that at all anymore. It's just purely the flow state.
It's like you would get the adrenaline from the hunt, right?
Yeah, but the flow state doesn't come from the accomplishment aspect of it. It comes purely from the act of sex with a girl that I find attractive. So whereas as before, even if I fucked a girl for 30 seconds, right, I would still get that massive dopamine high because I got her. Now it's like the sex has to be like really good and all that shit for me to get that. So yeah, that's kind of like that was like the big difference why it slowed down significantly.
For me, it was the opposite. I was getting more like turned on from the actual whole process. Like, yeah, I went out, I picked this girl, it was a one night stand, then go back to my group chat, like, yo, bro, I just picked up a chick. I just got a chick. Like more than I enjoyed the whole process.
Bleeding from my 12-inch cock.
then the whole getting the actual pussy. So
yeah, for me, it was always kind of going in waves. So similar to Karisma King when I first like learned this stuff back when I was 23, and I did pretty well with it. Again, not 60 girls a year or anything like that, but it was a few new girls per month, and at least for me, I had my own personal training business even back then. So I was very busy with that. But I was like super into it for about a year. And then I just kind of completely stopped. It kind of became boring. And then I remember when I moved to Asia, I tried NoFap for 30 days and I was able to accomplish it in 30 days. And then after that, I just went on a tirade after that. Like, so I don't know how much it has to do with like, just as a hormonal thing, because I think it's a mix of that and it's a mix of your values as well, because especially when I was first 23 and then trying to figure this stuff out, I had like this sort of thing to like prove to myself, it's like, yes, I can fuck a bunch of girls if I want to, so it's like it's half trying to prove yourself, and it was almost more about that than it was about just like trying to bust as many nuts as possible and as many women as possible. I know there's probably some guys where that's like definitely their main motivation. And for those guys, those are the ones who still sustain that sort of lifestyle over time. But I think for a lot of guys, they more so kind of want to know that they have the ability to do that. And then once they've kind of understand they have the ability to do it, then they kind of chill out a little bit.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I really wish I would pay like a lot of money if I could get that dopamine rush I used to get from fucking a new chick. I mean, that was like really fun. That was awesome. It was like a hit of heroin every time I banged a new chick. It's like, oh, and there's unlike heroin, there's no like physical downside. So it's like, well, I want to get like an STD or something. But I want to go back to what I think Denton was talking about earlier, is how women treat alpha and beta guys differently, which is interesting. One of the things you and I disagree on, Denton, is RSD. But I will fully acknowledge one of the best videos I've seen from RSD was actually really good about this issue. Did you ever see the one where Tyler talks about beta shaming and he goes out with his like chody friend and he shows how girls – that video was fucking spot on. But basically that video shows you how women, like two guys make the same exact joke, right? Same exact everything. One guy she perceives as alpha, one guy she perceives as beta. They will get two totally completely different reactions versus the alpha guy might get like, you can't say that, versus the beta guy will be like, what? That's inappropriate. Apologize.
Wait, what was the looks? What was the looks difference though? Were they both in the same level?
Well, Tyler was supposed to be the alpha guy, and he's like a 3. So I mean, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. So if anything, it was like looks irrelevant. Yeah. Yeah.
I do think that comes down to charisma also and how you say stuff and your energy. So that could be the alpha, but also if you're a playful, fun guy, that might actually help you out some cases too, versus a boring guy. Because I mean, Chad, he's like, most of the time he's unemotional. He's not really a fun person. Sometimes, depending, he's like masculine. I'm thinking how the RP explains them, but like if he's a fun, charismatic person, you guys go out, you might get a better response.
But I've seen Chads get beta shamed too. I've actually seen it in real life because they're like a little awkward. They're not confident. Versus me, who's like less good looking than those guys. It pretty much never happens to me. So I think there's definitely something true to that.
But is that alpha beta? Because I think that's more charisma, game, and how you say stuff and your energy.
Well, if we're talking about charisma, let's let Karisma King. His name is very appropriate for the question.
Alex is pretty charismatic. You and AG pulled like the very first time you guys were out. You guys pulled some really they're pretty attractive girls. The infield you guys fire. Yeah. Well, yeah. So we're talking about looks in terms
No,
of
I mean, I know I can pull girls. No, it was more of like we're talking about like the different way that women treat alpha versus beta guys.
And I was saying it was an alpha beta
it's a
charisma thing. Yeah.
Which I think charisma plays a role, but I don't think it's the end all be all. Well, I mean, like, it's like, how do you define charisma? I guess like you can't really be alpha without having some level of charisma, right?
Yeah. I know some beta dudes who have charisma. They have the energy, but when it comes to beta, I think it's the actions. The simping is your action, not how you say it. Like when you comment like she's beautiful, because I could go up to a girl like, damn, you're beautiful. Like, oh, look at you, you're cute. Oh, let me find out. And that's charisma versus someone else going up and saying like, oh, you're beautiful. I lunch you.
Well, yeah. I want to see if I can find the beta shaming video has been taken down. Fucking RSD took down literally every single good piece of content they used to have. That video was fucking dope. I'm sure maybe I'll torrent it and I'll play one of these days because that video was fucking dope.
The way that I look at it is not every guy with charisma has game, but every guy with game has charisma. You know, because there's a lot of, I'm sure maybe you guys have known some guys like this where basically like they're very charismatic, outgoing, but they're the guy that always gets friend zoned, right? So they have a lot of female friends because they're very charismatic, outgoing, but they don't have that masculinity aspect to them to just.
They don't pull the trigger a lot of times.
Exactly, yeah. So then they just get friend zoned. So they know how to talk and everything, but
so they're talking about
missing that mindset.
Well, you can be charismatic without being like a sexual threat, which is a big thing. Like there's a lot of guys I don't think that have the ability to be the sexual threat because they don't want to risk getting rejected. And because you're not willing to like be that guy who's willing to risk getting rejected, it's a different type of charisma. Like Louis C.K., for example, the poor fuck, he can't pull the trigger for shit, and he's like over here masturbating. Like he's like, can I masturbate to you guys in the corner? Like, dude, like I mean,
yeah.
Maybe that's where Donovan learned the "Can we do it tonight?" from. Dude. Louis C.K. is like, well, Louis C.K. is really charismatic, and he asked the women for permission if he could masturbate in front of them. So maybe that's just he's a high value guy. So.
Instead of going for the masturbating in the corner, I'm gonna ask if I could have sex with her. I'm being a bad boy. Cause why they call me bad boy D in the house.
I want to know your guys' opinion really quickly because when I hear somebody has game, I always think of it as just like the guy, like. If there's a scenario of, let's say there's like a speed dating scenario of like 100 different women and 20 guys, and then at the end of it, who got the most second dates? Well, that guy probably has the most game. Or if you want to make it just from a closing standpoint, who ended up fucking the most girls, right? And I think so many of those things, so much goes into that. And I think looks should be a part of it in some way. Right. Because I think a lot of times everybody's always just like, oh, is it game or is it looks or is it like why not kind of combine the two? So anyway, I want your honest opinion on this. So I made game sort of like an acronym, right? So G stands for good looking, A stands for assertive, M stands for masculine, E stands for entertaining. I'm not doing that from the standpoint of like, oh, who has the best game as like a dick measuring contest, although maybe you could use it that way. But genuinely, when guys come to me and they're struggling in their dating lives for whatever reason, I think for me, it kind of helps to be like, okay, well, what are they missing of these things? Because like, let's say they're very assertive, masculine, entertaining, by all means, they have like good game, but they just look fucking terrible. Then for them, the thing that they should work on is like their looks, right? As opposed to like some guys, they might be like we were talking about before, the guys that just aren't the sexual threat. They might be good looking. They might be pretty masculine, or no, they might be good looking. They might be entertaining, but they're not masculine or assertive.
Hey, Kevin.
So I'm going to steal that.
You ever notice how, like, all right, so are younger guys more attractive or older guys more attractive to girls? Like, let's say like a guy is like 20, like older. If like his version of himself when he's 30 goes in the same club, and like which version of him is like more likely to get laid on average?
Oh, the version of himself.
The younger, but I would say older.
Yeah,
well, he was basically saying like in terms of like if you could take your 30-year-old brain and put it in the 20-year-old body, right?
Oh, no.
I mean, is that what you're saying?
Like body wise, even body wise. Like, all right, so like even if like so it's going to be the 30-year-old. I mean, the only people that don't know this are the people that don't go out. Like I get more. I'm 30 now. I'm the best of the girls I've ever been. Like I actually, it's weird. So me and Avery have been pulling so many hot bitches back to his place. We fucking thrashed this place. He pulled a miss. I'm not gonna say who it was. It's a Miss State, and we can't say who. Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, we've been fucking banging like, oh my god, so many hot girls.
Damn, you guys have been.
we're open weight, we're fat now, dude. We're like, all right, man. I can't even show you my stomach right now, man. It's fucking.
The inside of Avery's apartment looks like the inside of Karisma King's Camry.
So who's the top and who's the bottom in this? Like, you want to be careful, man. You don't want to, anal can be.
Well, okay. So really quickly with the 30 and 20 thing, I think it depends on a few things, right? So if you're one of those people who are 20 years old and you still look like kind of a baby, like I did when I was 20, I'm 28 now, but I'd imagine my 30-year-old self would be better than my 20-year-old self, assuming that I take care of myself. But here's another thing too, some things are changing, right? I had a great hairline when I was 20. And then my hairline is like slowly going up and up and up and up and up as I age. So I think those sorts of things can make a difference.
Hairline.
Huh? Oh, dude, you see me, dude. I'm doing this. I'm having the same shit going on. It's actually, I'm like trying to find like cool, like new ways.
Yours pretty good, man.
I wouldn't know nothing about hair loss.
I just so what I've been finding really matters is like, all right, so there's so much shit that matters in terms of how attractive girls find you. I think, all right, so yes, looks do matter to an extent, but I think the problem with most guys is like, so we look through our own like vision, because for a guy, doesn't matter if the girl you're dating has status. No, I mean, it might be cool if the girl has like an extra 100,000 followers, you show it to your friends and shit, but it doesn't make her more sexy. It doesn't make you harder in bed. Whereas for a girl, if you're dating a guy that everybody's like, he's the king, bow down, that girl's gonna get wetter for you. Like if she sees girls chasing you down the street being like, please fuck me, like the girl's gonna get wetter for you. The girl's gonna be like, no, please fuck me. And then she's gonna be dragging on your sleeve like, please fuck me. So like there is it looks do matter, but it's like, how much do they matter? To me, like I go out all the fucking time. If I go out and I'm fucking out of it, girls don't like me as much. Girls don't want to fuck me. Girls actually get disgusted by me, but I'm in the pocket, I'm in good headspace, and I'm just like having fun, and I'm just like, vibing. I was out with this like fucking. So there's this guy out here and he takes his shirt off every time he goes out because he believes that looks matter so much. And so he's like a 8-pack, his chest, and he's like, he sees me over in the corner. I was smoking a cigar and just like chilling out because Leo ended up pulling and whatnot, and I'm just there by myself, and I'm just trying to relax because I'm about to start gaming again, and I want to get myself. My client was gone by this point, so I'm just trying to chill out and get myself in a good headspace. Well, he comes around, his shirt off. He's like, "Yo, man, let's go game." And he's like, I think looks matter. Watch. And he goes and approaches this maybe mediocre Asian girl, and she just rejects the shit out of him. And I was like, okay. And then I went and started talking to this like girl with all these tats and shit, and she starts flirting with me, hitting on me. And then her boyfriend comes around, she still keeps flirting and hitting on me and shit like that. And yeah, then he just fucking I think he took off. I think he left the club after that.
So somebody like him again. Sorry, go ahead. Somebody was saying something.
Damn, I don't fully agree with you guys. I'm not gonna lie, because I think you're only as good as the amount of options you have. And I see a lot of times with guys who are like 30 years old, like one thing, they'll go out, they don't feel like being out, they don't like staying out no more. Sometimes they get uglier. And then number two is like a lot of times like they have like an age difference with the girl, so like a relatability standpoint. And then also when you're 20, sometimes like let's say you're in college, you're gonna know a lot of people there, or let's say you're 20, you know some of the girls there, and you have more energy, you have more charisma sometimes. But if you get older, you start getting more options, you start getting more experience. That's a different story. But I can't fully say is the 30-year-old always gonna win in the case with the 20-year-old. The 30-year-old has more resources. But I don't fully agree with that.
Let me kind of money at her. I didn't like walk and be like, yo, and start like throwing like stacks on her or something.
I mean, you also are a dating coach. You feel me?
Yeah, well, that's any guy can do this though. Like my big thing is like how much the looks matter. Like, well, I think that like that's proof that they don't 100% matter. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, like I think the argument is like it does matter to an extent. How much does it matter? Not 100%. So I think the argument is somewhere in the middle now. So it's like, does looks matter 100%? Fuck no. So how much does it matter? What else? What are the other factors that matter? And now So now it's all like
Yeah.
on a scale. Now the argument is how much does each factor matter?
Okay. Yeah, looks get your foot in the door, but if you don't have the game, you don't know the charisma, you don't know how to talk to her. Like a lot of times, girls will go reject you for the guy who does have the game, who does know how to talk to her. Like you'll get the benefit of doubt a lot if you don't have the looks. But if you can't talk, I know so many 6'4" guys that look good that when they start talking, girls like, oh hey, what's your name? To someone else.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you're the guy with the 12-inch cock. On YouTube Live. I think okay. I think looks the black pillars think looks are the only thing that matter. Like RSD used to say, looks don't matter at all. I think the truth is somewhere in the middle. I definitely think looks matter. However, I would put looks separately from game because I think they're independent of each other. However, they're both important factors in your ability to get laid. So, for example, you have a guy who I think there's 3 factors in terms of your ability to get laid. There's looks, there's game, and then there's volume. So you have a guy who's a 5 in terms of looks. His game is a 3, and his volume is a 5. If you just up the game, that's the barrier in his thing, right? So as long as you just keep upping each factor, you'll get increasing results. But if your game is like, let's say your looks are an 8, right, and your game is a 4. You're not going to get a really big benefit from going from being 8 to 9 in terms of looks. It's going to get you very diminishing returns. However, if you just up your game, like that will be like the big thing. And if your volume is low, then like none of these other things matters, and you can just up that. So I think that's like the confusion. But yeah, if you just up any one of these factors, you can increase your success with women. But I do think they're both important. With the problem is with looks, you're kind of limited how far you can go. Like I think you can increase your SMB by 2 or 3 points. Which is definitely good. It's better than nothing. And most guys have not done that. 99% of black girls have not maxed out their SMB. I would say 2-3 points, maybe 3.5 points if we're not counting like status or fame. But game, you can go from being a 2 to being a 10 in terms of game. Like you can really, unless you like have some severe mental disorder, you can like take your name, you can max out your game completely. So it's also like you're kind of a little bit limited in the looks category, but you have more freedom in the game category. But either
I think
way,
the looks part too also kind of enhances your ability to have more game in the sense that the psychological benefit, and the sort of like you look at yourself in the mirror, you're like, yeah, I'm jacked, I look fucking good, and you look around because like it's a competition, right? You go out and you're a lot of times what paralyzes guys, whether they know it or not, to go talk to the hot girl is that unconsciously they think they're not worthy because they think some other guy's better for the girl than them, right? So if you have sort of that conviction within yourself, like, man, I could bench more than any of these dudes, you're gonna feel a little bit more sort of, I guess, kind of entitled, I don't know. I think that the mindset, as woo woo as that sounds, but the mindset that you're like a fit guy, that you look good, that you got some muscle on you and stuff. I think that'll carry over to just having a little bit more internal confidence of like, yes, I'm an attractive man.
It does. I think reference
hurt, but I've seen so many guys who are jacked who are so insecure and so unconfident, and I've seen some guys who are out of shape who are like ultra confident. So I've just seen so many examples of
that's true. So again, you can't, that's why it's important to say looks aren't the only thing, right? Because these black pillars, ironically, are going to have a huge black pill waiting for them once they're like fully, maxed out looks wise. It's like, oh, well, congrats. You look good, but you have the personality of a potato. Like girls aren't going to want to fuck you. You know what I mean? They might look at you and be like, oh, he looks good, but like
they'll consider that they'll still think you're ugly. They'll the back is rational. It's like, well, it's because I'm still ugly, and then they'll get mad at everybody. They'll start blaming everybody else, getting all pissy. They're actually trying different things other than looks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do think game is very important though too, because I see one thing that I think is a red pillar thing. They'll say like, don't ever text a girl, just text her for a meetup, right? And I disagree with that. I think that's counterproductive because some girls, if you don't look good, they're not just gonna meet up with you if the only thing you text them is, hey, let's meet up on here and here. I do think sometimes like on a dating app for sure, like maybe get like 2 or 3 message conversation before going straight for the meetup, because unless you're really good looking at 10, she might not be willing to meet up with you.
Even if you're really good looking, chances are she probably still won't meet off with you like right off the opener.
Exactly.
Often, the girls are like, even if they think you're really attractive, they're worried about being serial killed or whatever. Like they're worried about like their safety, and they feel more safe if they've talked to the guy longer. So looks can maybe a little bit mitigate the safety aspect, but it can't completely like overcome the safety concern that she probably has.
Exactly. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of ego tied too. I think a lot of guys don't consider that like girls have egos as well. And so sometimes they might think like, oh, well, especially if they think that somehow you're like some fuckboy or some player, they might be like, which again, the art of game, you could argue, is to not come across that way. Or too obvious from that standpoint. But
well, keep going, man. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's okay. Yeah, but I was gonna say, like, sometimes I've had that happen where like girls will try to like start playing games because they think I'm like some fuckboy, you know. So
It happens so much when girls see my YouTube.
Dude, oh my god, I've lost. I think at this point, double-digit girls who found my social media in some way. It happened to me when I was in Vegas. I met this girl. She was just like, I'm not into Indian girls like at all, but like she was like the hottest Indian girl I've ever seen.
So she was like a 5 when it comes to regular girls.
All right, that's racist. No, I'm joking. I mean, low keys. But anyway,
yeah.
She literally looked like a Bollywood star, dude. I was like, holy fuck. Yeah. But yeah, dude, like everything went great and all that. And you know, with me, I basically talk for a living. So she shared. I was just asking questions. She shared with the first date that I had with her. She shared a lot about her personal life and stuff with me. And then somehow she found my YouTube channel. She thought I was like manipulating her into like sharing these sides of herself. I was like, no, I wasn't doing that at all. We were literally like connecting, you know. But then just because she watched my YouTube channel, she started to like build this narrative in her head that I was just like trying to play games and seduce her. It's fucking
well,
bullshit.
once you hit 100K, Kevin, that problem just goes away. You know, that's a low sub count problem. You know, I didn't think about that. Yeah, I've lost.
I need to work hard on my YouTube channel, then. Fuck.
Although, but even though I'm kidding, I do think there's an element of truth to that. Like once you get to a certain point of subs, like the social proof is so high that even if she disagrees with your content, she's like, well, so many other people think that, you know, like the bandwagon fallacy. But like so many other people think this guy's like legit, so maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, it's a lot easier for her to dismiss you when you're like, no, like up and coming.
You know, the interesting part is I have this big ass poster in my crib and I have tons of camera equipment, and girls never ever ask. But then they'll like 10 dates in or like 10 link ups in, they're like, oh, what's this? And then I tell them, that's when they're shocked. But I had so much evidence they could have asked for.
Dude, when Avery and I brought some girls back to Avery's place, and then, you know, Avery's house is like, I don't know if it's still that way, but, you know, he has like the cameras and everything set up. Yeah. And so I don't even remember what we said, but we had to come up with some excuse. I don't know. For you, I guess that wasn't an issue, but literally the first time that was an issue.
I just always say, oh, we film porn in here.
I think that's what we said. I think we were like, yeah, we filmed gay porn. I was like, we tried to joke our way out of it. I think that's
I get asked that all the time, actually.
What? Whether you do porn?
Yeah, because I have all the lights. Yeah, because I have all the lights. Yeah.
You should be like, that's racist. Just because I have a humongous schlong doesn't mean I do porn. It's just like such a nice way of slipping in there. Look, just because I have a 12-inch cock does not mean I automatically do porn. I am tired of this discrimination. I'm sick of it. I'm just like every other guy, but with a much bigger dick.
Yeah, that's funny, man.
Well, if you guys want to, do you guys want to hear something really kind of crazy that I've been like kind of I've been into? All right,
go for it.
So about 2 years ago, I started thinking about it, and I've obviously been very much in the whole RSD thing. I know that's not everybody's like fucking cup of tea, but I'm like, well, when I'm in the pocket, when I'm in the zone, girls like me a lot more. So it has to be something that I'm expressing, some way I'm moving or way that I'm acting. So I started looking at the guys girls considered attractive, and I started watching the way they moved versus guys that weren't. And I started noticing, like, so Matthew McConaughey, he changes the pitch, pace, the volume of his words and the way he speaks all the time. And not just that either, he even drags the vowels and a lot of things he says in a very languid and very relaxed kind of a way. And he is just constantly relaxed and at ease. And as I've been adding these things to my mannerisms, girls have been finding me more and more attractive. So the body itself has 56. So the face, for example, has 56 major and minor expressions. The reason being is because we're constantly emitting what we're feeling, how we're like we're constantly just broadcasting what we're feeling all the fucking time. The reason we have whites in the eyes so you can see where I'm looking. So the tone itself, the vocal, the tone, it's you can communicate status with your words by speaking deeper into your chest as opposed to higher in your throat. Speaking higher up here, it makes you sound like you're a nerd, but it's actually makes you, it demasculates you. It chops you off, it neuters you. It makes you sound like a woman. So a lot of guys, they do these little fucking things when they don't think they're of value to a girl. They fucking are just constantly neutering themselves by just speaking and talking in a certain way. Does this make sense?
Can you give some examples of like how to speak and move correctly?
Yeah, I could definitely do that. All right, so
so
like
Denton's getting all sexy with it.
Alex got a little hard there.
He's gaming us.
Let me just up the camera a little bit.
So it's all right. So you had pauses, you had eye contact, you change the pitch, the pace, the volume. Sometimes maybe you'll add a little bit, maybe like subtext. So a lot of the energy, the way that you think. So what I'll oftentimes do is I'll envision myself being just a bad motherfucker. And then it starts exuding through the energy. And when I talk to a girl, I don't have to say the shit. You can pause. Honestly, I stopped having to go direct with girls when I approach them. I used to just say hi. And I exude this shit through my mannerisms. And the girls get turned on. I don't have to say shit. So if the girl has a boyfriend, guess what? I'm not flirting with her. I didn't say I was hitting on her. I'm just looking at her. Like now it's like now I can take it away at any point. It's like, so it's like a deposition where like, all right, so if I was like in a deposition and I'm like, and you know, and I'm like, and I murdered somebody, and the judge is like, Mr. Denton, did you murder this person? No, Your Honor, I definitely did not murder that person. Well, the person is writing this down the entire fucking time, and she's like, did not murder this person. She didn't like write wink and then like, you know, all like the sarcasm.
Plausible deniability. Yeah, I talk about that.
Yeah, and so that vocal tonality, everything that you were doing there, that's why I believe so much of game. I'm sure you guys agree too. It's sub communicative, right? It's not necessarily all just the things.
Yeah, I've just been getting sexy with girls, dude. The quality of women that I've been getting, I've been getting like, what's kind of cool now is like, I just believe I'm just fucking sexy, which I know there's so many guys out there that are way better looking than me. But now because I've been getting better with the mannerisms, the way that I move and speak, the more, and it's been feeding into itself. So Avery has actually this thing on Vocular. So we've been working on our tone. So I have a high pitched voice. So we've been starting to breathe more into our stomach, trying to like deepen our voices. We've been trying to like, I naturally speak really fast. So yeah. Well, it's a side product of because I used to be shy. So I tried to squeeze all my words in because I thought that what I had to say wasn't valuable. So I tried to squeeze it in, which is again a sign that you're low status. So a girl doesn't want to fuck you because you're squeezing everything into a short period of time because the words you say are not valuable because you're not valuable. Like when you can't give somebody eye contact, you don't because you're a low value person, and you give somebody eye contact, the fucking alpha guy's gonna hit you in the head with a fucking rock. When you can't express yourself, when you're like suppressed, and you speak like this, and you start talking like this. Have you ever had clients like this where like, wow, that's really cool. Yeah, it's suppression. Whereas supposed the opposite is supplicating. Like, hey, how's it going? That's really awesome. Like that's supplicating. It's like it's not even a real smile, it's a supplicating smile. As opposed to an authentic, real smile. That's a lot different. So it's like it's somewhere in the middle between supplicating and repression. And in the middle is like the sweet spot for most guys will make them most attractive.
Well, this is why a lot of black pillars just don't understand it because they just think it's like, oh, well, you're just saying a bunch of these magical words. And, you know, I try to say this without sounding insulting, but it's like, you know, if by definition, if you're kind of on the spectrum, right, the types of things that you were doing, Denton, like a lot of guys, if they're actually like clinically autistic, they can't tell the difference. They really actually can't tell. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of these guys, if they are on the spectrum, they struggle so much because they can't understand that. But that's everything, you know, the way in which you say those words, the way in which you make eye contact, your body movements, everything, all the stuff that you were doing, that's 90% of what's going on with game. It's not you saying this magical sequence of words. Obviously, you know, contrary to popular belief within this space, the words you say definitely do matter, right? But they're not. It does matter less than the intention behind them. Yeah. And that's like, very tough to teach people that just kind of don't get it, AKA most of the black pill guys.
Well, yeah, I don't think they matter that. I think they matter a little bit, but not that much. It depends on also what you're saying, if it's something that's like really like even if you're all sexy about it, if you're like, hey, I'm gonna fucking murder your mom, like like even like something like as extreme as that, like you're not gonna be able to get away with. I don't care like how confidently you say it, like, hey, I'm wearing diapers right now and I just diddled myself, like like there's things like that.
I you know what, I gotta disagree with you, Alex, because like, for example, I'm sure you guys have heard this plenty of times where it's like you're about to bring a girl back home and then she's like, oh, are you a serial killer? Like, heard that dozens of times, all of us, I'm sure. I think there's a way for you to do that if you're just like yeah, totally.
I have actually a very cringe
I'm gonna serial
story.
kill the shit out of you. I want to. You shouldn't necessarily say that, but if you say if you say something like that, like they'll be able to kind of understand the
you respond
intention behind it, right?
Yeah, you'll be like, oh, totally. Yeah, I just finished my serial killing earlier today. Yeah, I get that. I was just trying to make the point that like really extreme words will matter if you're like saying something like really insane, like even if you say it good, like but for a lot of things, I think your intention. I'd rather have guys say like some churly line, but they say it confidently, than like a good line, but they deliver it without confidence.
Yeah, I actually have a story. So when I first started my YouTube channel, I was recording infield. I used to say one thing to girls all the time just because it was funny. I would get in the comments. I would say like, you need to try some. I'm Nigerian, okay? And then I used to be like, oh, you need to try our food. We got jollof rice. It's gonna make your booty fat. And girls used to laugh, be like, oh, I need that. It's gonna make my booty fat, right? And so I had a student infield, and he saw my infield, so he went up to a girl and said that, and then she just completely like, get the fuck away from me. Get away from me. What the hell?
Was he white or was he black?
No, it was a black guy.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say it'd be funny if like a white guy tried that. I'm from Nigeria. We got these fries that are gonna make your booty fat. The girl's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Yeah.
But yeah, to your point, I'm guessing that your client said it in like a very like his it just didn't match, right?
Was,
it's probably
yeah,
like, I'm gonna give you fries that make your booty fat.
Exactly.
Well,
and then it's tonality, and he was waiting for a reaction also.
Like
I was
a lot, man. Like, so it's like, the inner and the outer matter a lot. So a big portion of actually being sexy too is believing you're fucking sexy. So the reason a lot of guys can actually like get away with saying like fucking anything is because they believe they're sexy. And if you believe you're fucking sexy, you actually will start naturally talking like this. If you think you are Brad Pitt in the way you look, you'll actually start. It's a catch-22. So if you think like, so creepy guys, the reason they're creepy is because what they're doing is they put up a facade and like, this is me, this is who I am, but really they're on the backside and they're trying to manipulate a girl to liking them. And girls are social geniuses, and that's the toughest thing because they're social. Like, have you ever seen girls do girl eye code? Most guys don't pick that shit up naturally. Girls do it without even thinking about it. They don't even, like, they're just like this, like they'll even do it really fast like this, and they'll look away, and the girl catches it, and then they know better. Most guys won't even see that shit, and that's just like so second nature for a girl to do. Guys are logical. We're good with fucking things. We're good with like tinkering and stuff. It's why so many guys suck at this shit. Like, unless a guy has like the right set of feedback from the world or like the right upbringing, usually he doesn't pick the shit up very well. He doesn't like learn that he's like attracted. Like, if he had a really good time in high school and schooling in general, and like girls liked him, then he'll start acting this way. But uprooting it, if you had like a history of not being good with girls, you will start. You'll have bad habits. And you also have bad mindsets and beliefs behind it. So you'll be like, how do I manipulate the girl to like me? And like, what's really funny is like, it's weird. You're not even manipulating the girls at some point. You're manipulating yourself. That's where you get really good at game, is where you stop like, fuck the girl. The girls will come. Like, if the girl in front of me doesn't want to fuck me, doesn't like me, it's fine, because I will get her in one form or another. So fuck that bitch, dude. I'm the one that matters. I'm the El Capitan. So this guy right here is the thing that matters. It's like, she's just a backboard for my awesome 3-pointer. If that makes any sense. Like, and then like by having the right mindsets, then you make like, so like the thing you were saying about being a serial killer, like if you meant it, it's not going to work. But if you're doing it in a playful, jokey way, you can make it work. Yeah. That's like, the intent matters a lot, because the self is always coming through, and you want to try and make the self match the inner, which
that's a good point too. Because I was talking to a lot of my friends. I feel like guys who have a bunch of older sisters too, when you bring up the upbringing, when they have a lot of older sister, they're usually better off at game than guys who just have brothers. It's not 1-on-1, but like I see that a lot. And then another thing also, when it comes to game, I feel like I tell people a lot, like it really doesn't like talk about nothing. Like a lot of guys are really logical, asking where you from, what do you do, blah 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 blah. But when you start talking about nothing, oh, why are you looking at me? Get away from me! Like it has no context. Like you're just saying anything, kind of. It's hard to teach, but like sometimes we just not talking about anything. It's easier with women.
Yeah. Girls don't really care so much about the logical. A lot of it has to do with like the mannerisms. Girls like don't even know what they're even attracted to. Like the girls will be like, I like a nice guy, and then she go fucks the asshole or the bad boy. Like, you know, it's also why it's terrible to get advice from a girl, because girls know what the fuck they want. They're gonna be like, just be a nice guy. Just be like,
it's so interesting.
The only caveat is
you are,
if she's very self-aware and honest, then she could.
Yeah. Well, so hold on. So Denton, you're exactly right. But it's funny because in the red pill spaces, a lot of guys will think it's like this collective effort by women to just hide like what they're really attracted to. When in reality, more than likely, they don't actually know. So like we can even take ourselves, for example, as men attracted to some women, right? Sure. It's if it's super obvious, the girl's just like smoking hot objectively. Yeah. But I'm sure we've all had times where like a girl is like, you know, pretty good looking, not like super hot, but there's something about her where like you just like her a lot more, but you can't explain it, right? So girls have that, except for guys, except way more, and they can't explain it at fucking all, you know? And so I just think it's funny in the red pill space where it's this giant conspiracy theory to protect, you know, the sisterhood of the gynocentric social order, you know, when in reality, it's like exactly what Denton was just saying. Is like girls don't even know what they're attracted to. They just are. Obviously, there's actual things going on there psychologically. But yeah, I thought it was a good point.
Girls never remember your opener.
Yeah, there's definitely no like conspiracy theory or woman like fucking sitting around scheming like, all right, let's tell these simps that we like nice guys.
No, that's literally what a lot of red
Yeah,
pillers
I know.
I mean, they don't actually think they're scheming around and all that type of stuff, but they think that it's like this unconscious thing that they have to always just sort of like defend each other by any means, and it's something that they can't control, you know. So
girls
it's just weird
against each other all the time. Girls can be brutal to each other.
Yeah.
But I do see one thing though. I do feel like when women are single mothers, sometimes like they'll fuck a lot of the alphas, and then I see them really raise their kids telling like, women like this, you should be this angel, and they end up becoming extremely beta. I see that a lot.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. When the kid doesn't have like a father figure, although like I had a you know, well, I still do, but like, you know, he never taught me anything about game or anything like that.
Mine didn't either.
So like, I think just having a father figure isn't enough. He has to like actually kind of guide you in some direction. Yeah, I don't know. Like I was taught like definitely like my dad taught me a lot of business skills from a young age, and like I had a job. I had my own business when I was like 12 years old. Like I was fucking hustling when I was like 13. But yeah, when it comes to like game and pickup, like nah, I don't know. Like that was just like not even mentioned in my family. And I was like 18. I was like, gee whiz, can I bust a nut or what the fuck is going on here? Yeah,
actually, Alex, do you do like all right, I've actually done this before, and I've done this, me and Avery have both done this with our clients and ourselves. If you actually want to see a really good all right, so if you want to disprove red pill, just do this simply. Get a picture of you or a client. Get one where they're in the pocket, and I mean actually not like fucking like fake in the pocket, because guys are again autistic.
When you say in the pocket, what do you mean exactly?
In the zone.
Oh, okay.
Like, you know how you can like take the same photo in the same spot, and then like a bunch of them look bad, and then like one photo out of all of them gets rated really well, and it's this one where you look really like relaxed and authentic, and that was one where all the girls rate really highly. Like it could give you like 2 to 3 points in your looks. Get photos of yourself where you're super out of it versus where you're in a really good, happy, fun space where you're just laughing authentically, or you just maybe for whatever reason just have an amazing day. Take those photos, put them into a file, rate them. Take the other photos, put them in a file, and rate them, and will see completely different, drastically different results and how attractive you are perceived by women. And that's not the same thing for girls. If girl like is in the pocket or not, it will not affect how attractive you think she is. Yeah. Like she's still gonna look at the same. She's like, she got tits. Like, I mean, like her being authentically happy in the picture is not going to change the fact that you find her attractive or not.
Yeah, exactly. Like if she's hot but looks like a bitch, I'm still going to swipe right on her. It's like, hey, maybe I can fuck her hard enough and the bitch will just come right out, you know?
Yeah. What's up, man?
Have you done this experiment before?
Yeah. Dude, I've taken like thousands of photos. Dude, I've done this with myself.
Video.
Yeah, well, that's what we're thinking about doing. The problem is that like a lot of guys are autistic, so they don't know when they're in the pocket. They'll do an apologetic smile in a photo, and they'll be like, "This is me in the zone," and they're like, dude, that's not. So So guys are too autistic to actually know when they're like in a good headspace, and most guys don't even know what it's like to be in the pocket or in state. Like black pillars are always in negative moods. So I told a black pillar this or a red pillar. He's like, I'm always angry and sad. I'm always depressed. I'm like, then this experiment won't work for you.
That's a good point, man. People won't know what in state is unless they've actually been in it before.
Yeah.
Because then when because it's the whole thing of like, what Avery calls like God mode, right? It's literally like you get to this point where you could approach anybody, like any girl, you could approach any set. If somebody was like, hey, go hit on that guy's wife, it'd be like, all right. Like sometimes you could just be in that mode.
There's legit science behind this. I always talk about this book, The Rise of Superman. It's not just for game too. It's for like action sports and stuff like that. There's different kinds of flow states, but flow states apply to a lot of things. It's basically when the challenge level is like 10% above what you're used to. So you can't get into a flow state by doing something you've done hundreds of times. That's like kind of boring, but you can't get into a flow state either by doing something that's really, really hard outside of your reality. So if you're like a beginner at a cold approach, you're not going to get into a flow state by approaching like a hot 3-set or whatever. Like, that's the challenge level is too high, but it also can't be too low. So it's got to be the magic numbers like 10% above what you're used to, right? And then when you're going 10%, that's when you will get in that flow state. And then once you are in a flow state, your brain releases all these like really powerful neurochemicals that you literally, like your fear goes away, you become ultra confident. Also pain goes away actually. So if you have like any kind of pain, that will go away too. There's a lot of really interesting things behind it, but yeah, there's a whole science to it. It's not just like a pickup thing that I think.
So basically, it has to be just challenging enough where your body doesn't like shut down from shock, but it's got to. So you're pushing your limits a little bit, but it's not.
Right.
I actually don't think that flow state and like state, like I think they're both intertwined. Like I imagine that like I almost feel like what pickup guys call state and what flow state is. I think they're somewhat related, but I don't think they're the same thing. So I think that. Well, I think they're attached. I just don't think they're exactly the same thing. So there's like different personalities you have in your head. So getting in the zone is actually a matter of like trying to trying to pull up a certain personality. So the way you get yourself in state is act as if you're already in state. So what you approach people. You try to be louder. You try to like make a joke, crack a joke. You slowly so maybe go out feeling really shy in your head. Like me, like I'm naturally shy, so it takes me a lot of work to pull it up. Well, the more that I access that version of me, that personality, the quicker it comes up. And so right now I'm exhausted, but I've been gaming like now 2 weeks straight. I took 1 day off in the past 2 weeks. No, probably 3 weeks now. And so it's a lot easier for me now to pull it up. And at the beginning of this talk, if you like rewind it, I was like in my head, like quiet and shit. And I pulled it up. And so what I think it is like you develop another type of personality in your head, like that alpha boss type personality, the one that's high value and like it is more at ease with himself. And you can actually don't have to be in state. I think you can have this version of you up and about without like just being super relaxed. I think like relaxation is a big part of pulling this guy up, honestly. And so it's like you start like creating like a new version of yourself. So you have all these different personalities that come up when for different situations. And you act like this guy long enough, and eventually he locks and he pops open, and he's like, "Oh, I'm out to play. I'm out to fuck shit up," as opposed to like being like super shy and awkward. Which
it's still you. It's just the more you get into flow, the easier it is to access, right? So if you're constantly used to going into flow states, which you do when you're picking up girls, they're really easy to access. It's actually not that hard to keep accessing them over and over again. It's like if you're playing a lot of basketball, like you're going to be better, right? Even if you haven't played that day, it's the same type of thing. You should really read the book, The Rise of Superman by Stephen Cutler. It like really breaks this down in extreme detail. There are different kinds of flow states. A social flow state is a little bit different than like a snowboarding flow state, right? So there's some variance, but it's all flow states, and it's all like generally speaking the same neurochemicals that are being released, and it's generally the same parameters. It's not just the challenge level. There's more factors to it than that. It's got to be, the activity has to be immersing for you. So for example, if it's something boring, like, I don't know, like fucking cooking or something like that, you're probably not going to hit a flow state from that, even if you're cooking a challenging recipe. But something like snowboarding, where like if you fall, you could like hit your head and die, or picking up girls where there's a social pressure, that's very immersive. So there's a whole bunch of other components to getting into a flow state. But yeah, there's legit science to it, and people wind up chasing flow states because they're so addictive. They really are. It's like a really good feeling. It's like a natural high. It's like being on. Well, actually, one of the things you're talking about, how you feel energetic, that's from dopamine, right? Which is, what your brain releases when you do cocaine, right? So you're getting like that same chemical, maybe in a lower dose, just from getting into a flow state. Because you know how you can be out and you're like tired, you're not feeling it, and then you're suddenly energetic, right? Like that just came from your brain releasing a bunch of dopamine, right? It's like you did a natural line of blow, basically. Maybe to a smaller extent, but yeah. And then
I want to check that book out now. What is it?
The Rise of Superman by Stephen Covey.
Rise of Superman.
Such a great book, man. Highly recommend to everyone.
I'll check it out.
Really breaks down the science of this. Yeah, like I think one guy in the chat was saying earlier that he read it and he was like, he's really.
Well, so really quickly with what Denton was just saying, it's almost sort of like a good way to sort of visualize it, because I had to do the same thing for myself too, and I help guys with this as well. Is like, you're bringing out your inner Tyler Durden, like from Fight Club. That's literally what the whole movie Fight Club is. If you want to be a nerd about it and talk about Jungian psychology and depth psychology and stuff, it's literally the personification. Yeah, is the personification of the narrator's shadow. Right, the shadow is the repressed side that society says is bad, but in reality, for example, society tells you, hey, don't be sexual, don't be masculine, don't be whatever, be a good little boy, and that's ingrained in you from a young age. Like when you're in school, the kids that are the most rowdy in school are the boys, and the teacher's like, hey, don't be like a boy, be more like Sally over there. So you start to repress these things into your unconscious as time goes on, and you get this negative association with things like, oh, being assertive, speaking my mind, being masculine, that's bad. Well, and then that's sort of played out in the movie Fight Club. And then Tyler Durden is basically the opposite of everything that the narrator is, right? So, but technically Tyler Durden himself, he's not like a model human being. He's actually a dick, right? But he gets girls and he's like does whatever he wants.
Like Brad Pitt.
Yeah, exactly. But basically, but basically, as long as the narrator. So just imagine you yourself, and imagine like this dark version of yourself, your inner Tyler Durden. If you just act like that, you're not actually going to be that. You're going to end up exactly where you need to be, if that makes sense. Right. So basically your idea of what an asshole is actually isn't an asshole. It's probably actually who you should be. You know what I mean? And so to your point, Denon, like, I think it helps a lot to have that sort of, you kept saying like, oh, well, I had to bring this guy out. It's the whole, it's that, another story that's Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, it's like, you have to bring this certain personality out of yourself that's within you that you've denied your whole life, but it's within you,
Yeah, said that the other day. Avery said,
we have like different aspects of our personality that come out in different situations. Like we have a range of personalities that we can exhibit, and you can like go in one of those directions. Like there's a part of me that's very like introverted, nerdy. Like you guys know how much I fucking love Game of Thrones. Every time I fucking TV comes on, it's Game of Thrones. I fucking have Game of Thrones tattoos all over. My dog is named Rhaegar, which is one of the characters from Game of Thrones. I'm a massive fucking nerd in a lot of ways, and that part is still there. And I could have gone more in that direction, developed that, and I would have a grand total of like 0 pussy. I used to play like all these nerdy games when I was a kid, but then that wasn't the only part. There's more to my personality than that. There's also the trollish, cocky, funny asshole. I guess that part of my personality. There's the interest. So you can kind of like direct and which part of the personality you want to build on and nurture, kind of like in a garden, and which one of you kind of want to maybe suppress more. But yeah, like it's still part of like going back to what Denton was saying earlier. That was still part of your personality. It's not like you pulled a personality that's not you out of nowhere, because then you would just seem like a massive poser and you would be getting no girls, right? If you were just like trying to be someone else, that's like super obvious to women when you're doing that. Like, I'm trying to think how I could do that. Like, what's really like, that would be if I tried being like really romantic and serious, because that's like, not me at all. If I was like, hey, my lady, let me read you a poem. Like, that would be so incongruent with me. Like, it would just be super cringe, because that just like is not my personality at all. But maybe if Denton did it in my work, right? But also I want to comment on something that I just thought of as Kevin was talking about, what we were discussing earlier with money. I actually do think there's one thing that money does definitely give you, and that's social acceptance. So like if you're like kind of like a quirky, cocky, funny asshole or whatever, and you're broke, like people will be like I remember when I was broke, my dad would be like, well, maybe if you were like nicer to people, you'd be more successful in your career. Versus now that I have money, like it's like, oh, well, maybe there's something to being like a cocky, funny asshole, right? It's like people will just, it just gives you this massive amount of social proof that people will just use to either justify or whatever is the opposite of justifying, anti-justify your
Vilify.
actions. Yeah, based on yeah, like you can be the same exact person. Like let's say you have two copies of you, same exact person. One of them is really well off and one of them is poor. Like people will treat those two differently, even though it's the same personality, because they'll think, okay, well, there's a reason, maybe there's something to this because this guy's financially successful. So I think that's a cool thing that I've like come to
That's a
appreciate
good point.
as like I've started having money is like, yeah, like now like people will like, no one can say like, oh, well, you know, maybe you should try being someone else. Like, what's their argument? I'm like, motherfucker, I'm richer than you. Like, suck a dick. Right? Like, before, I don't know. I couldn't use that argument. Does that make sense? It's kind of like,
Well, people are naturally drawn toward things that are rare, right? Just from a status standpoint, because all human beings are driven by status. And that's why the whole thing with money, it's like, okay, well, that's instantly status boosting because it's rare to have a lot of money. So that makes sense to me.
Although I do think people who lead with their money and like show off are so cringe. Like that to me is like one of the cringiest a person can do. Like when I see
needy.
like the fresh and fit, like just constantly flexing, like look at me, a Ferrari. Oh, look at me, I'm such a cool. Like it's so fucking cringe. I don't know how. Like, yeah, I don't know. If I had a friend who was constantly showing off their money, I probably would stop being friends with them.
Well, it also just goes to show you that it's not something that's like. It's like a surprise to them, right? If it's something that's just naturally like, yeah, I'm rich, I've always been rich, then like, why would you even bring it up? You know, that's just like part of who you are.
Yeah, people.
Right? It's like there's a reason tall guys usually don't brag about being tall because even if they're a dick, because like they've always been tall. You know,
but then like
that's
some
the
guys,
only perspective they've ever had.
Some guys feel like that's all they have to offer. Because I remember back in the day, I used to go out with some people when they first started like, getting a good career. There was engineers. Every time they would go out, they'd be like, tell every girl, hey, I'm an engineer. I'm an engineer, because that was the only status that they had. So it was perceived as they had money. They didn't really have that much game. And the areas they're going to like young professional wise. So I see that's why some guys do it, but I don't fully agree with it.
Yeah, it comes off really try hard, and girls like will be like, oh, they'll troll you. They'll be like, oh, are you? I bet you make the big bucks, don't you? Like they'll fucking like troll you. At least like the more brutal ones will. Versus the less brutal ones, they'll just probably walk away. Yeah, like it's ultra cringe when you're trying to like flex or like show off with money. It's funny because like the really rich guys, they actually don't want people to know they have a lot of money because they're tired of people using them for money. So like the really rich guys, they never flex. They're like way more low key and discreet about their money because maybe they have a nice car, maybe they have a nice house, but they're never flexing, right? Because they don't want people to know they have a lot of money because it annoys the fuck out of them when people like put them on a pedestal. So it's like the people who are flashing and you know showing off are typically like not even that rich. Like they're like the new rich. They just got money very recently, but they're not used to it. And that's like a good way of showing the girl that you've only had your money for a short period of time is just showing off. Because the people who are really rich and who've been rich for a while, they don't do that. Like that's to them, it's the opposite of what they're doing, basically.
Yeah, but some people playing just a short game. They're not thinking about the long term. Sometimes they just want to pump and dump. Maybe sometimes that would help you when it comes to pump and dump, though, showing flashy, but she's just going to use you for your money.
I call it a vacuum of qualification. So it's like, all right, so qualifying and qualification is like where you need to qualify, need to constantly project why am I of value? A person that is actually of value, which so I think people kind of fucked up in a few reasons. So we're not made for the world the way it is right now. We're not made for this world. What were we made like? So what were we made for? We're made for like a bunch of different types of tribes, like which with widely and vastly different cultures. Maybe one's like a fishing tribe, maybe one's a roaming tribe that like follows the buffalo up the hill. Well, so there were a lot of different forms of value. There was not like, you know, Benjamins and money and shit like that. There was like vastly different types of value to the tribe. Like obviously, like if you're the guy that kills the biggest buffalo and you bring it in, people will treat you really well. Now you can start acting like you're a badass. But you're also like very clear, like, look how big my buffalo is. Everybody, look how big it is. You know, you're qualified. You don't think you're actually deserving of the buffalo. I mean, it's like you're like actually like you're indicating now your lower status by having to qualify constantly. The guy that is the king of the tribe doesn't have to say shit. He just, I am that shit. I am the shit. Right. I don't have to say it. The guy that qualifies is going to be like
Dude, that's a
anytime you
great
have to
point.
qualify, a guy that I call him a vacuum of qualification. You want to be a vacuum of qualification. There's no reason that you never want to tell somebody why you're a badass. It's just something that you just are.
Yeah.
It's
It's like if you're real quick. It's like if you're a
That's a
kid
good point.
and you're like, Dad, look what I got. It's like, okay, but who's the dad in the situation, right?
Yeah.
So if you're automatically going around, you're automatically, like you said, putting yourself in
You're
the
higher
beta
value.
status. If you're just like, hey, look
Yeah.
at my buffalo, guys. Aren't I cool? Can I be part of the cool kids club now, please?
You want the girls like qualifying to you. You want the girl being like, "Hey,
Yeah.
look at this! Look what I got!" Like the person
Yeah.
that's qualifying, you qualify the person of higher value. So if you're like telling the girl why you have all this money, she has higher value than you. She won't fuck you because she wants a guy that's better, that's higher value than she is.
I started like first sort of absorbing this when I was in middle school and high school, even though my brain couldn't really process it. But like the coolest kids in school were the kids who cared the least. And I remember, like, if I got a chance, this sounds like super cringe, but I'll just fucking admit it. If I was like hanging out with one of the cool kids, it was like such a big thing. I was like, oh my God, like, I like almost like, so what's it like to be like so popular? And like, I don't know, man, it's whatever, right? They never cared, right? And that was like, whoa, like, you don't care? I would give my left nut to be you, Mr. Blah, 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 right? Random popular kid from the shithole high school I was at. So it's like, yeah, like fucking, but yeah, like the cool kids care less. It's the same thing. It still applies when you're an adult. Like the kids who are like have status, they don't really care that much about it. It's like, yeah, it's whatever. And then they like blow past it. It's the people who are like obsessed with it that has almost the opposite effect. I don't know. It's a very interesting catch-22.
Well, it was kind of the crux of everything we're talking about here in the stream, right? Of like, well, what is simping? Well, simping is putting yourself in some way in a kind of like a subservient manner, right? And that's the ultimate way of doing it, is just to seek validation and approval from people. And so from simping from that aspect, in some way, you're trying to seek approval and validation from that woman. And then by definition, when you do that, she's not going to be attracted to you, because why would she? Why would she be attracted to the kid that's trying to impress his mommy? You know, like automatically she's not necessarily going to she's not going to, I want to say she would not respect you, sure, but it's more so like you just get put in a different category, you know? So
she'll never truly love you.
She will respect you less. Yeah, I mean, there's so much power in not caring. Like the person who cares less usually wins in a lot of situations, even relationships too. Like the person who's cares less usually has the power in that relationship. This is let me answer this question. Alex, would you ever make an OnlyFans with you and Natty? Didn't you make an adult video before? I never made an adult video. Well, I never publicly released any adult video with Natty, nor would I, because she has like a legit career, so that would probably not work out well for her. I would potentially make an OnlyFans with another girl who didn't have like a corporate job, but yeah, I did make a porno before. It's out there. You can probably find it on the internet. But yeah, maybe in the future I would. I really like what his name, fucking Mr. Lucky POV, who I talk about like on every fucking stream, does. So that concept appeals to me, of just banging hot chicks as your career.
So really quickly, guys, I need to bounce because the title of my stream was tier list, and I did do it for a little bit, and then I went on here, and then my chat has been freaking out for a while, being like, "Where's the tier list?" So I need to.
Whoa.
I need to simp for my chat and acquiesce to their desires.
Is it tier list of dating coaches?
No, well, kind of. It's a tier list of like the manosphere as a whole. So
am I on the tier list?
S level?
So the S level, I only have one. No, so I'll answer both of you. Don't worry. So the S tier, I only give for channels that I think are like better than mine, and I want to become like. So that's a very small list. The only person on there so far is Karisma on Command, and then A tier I give of like people.
Did I break up?
No, I think he's frozen.
Oh, that's a great pose, man.
Yeah, I know. He's like
picture.
building suspense. A tier I only give for meh.
Yeah, I don't think he's coming back.
He's frozen.
That's a good pose, though.
Yeah, I know. It's such a fucking cliffhanger. But I definitely want to have you guys on more in the future. Yeah, we'd chop it up. But yeah, let's wait until Kevin unfreezes, I guess. Or I guess we could just keep talking while he's like fucking frozen. I'm sure he'll like reload his shit. Yeah. I guess we can take some questions from the audience in the interim.
Is buying a girl a drink simping?
By the way, Prince, you can put them on the screen as well. But is buying a girl a drink simping? No, I was saying this earlier. Not necessarily. Depends how. So if you're like, if you see a girl at a bar and you approach her and you're like, "Hey, can I buy you a drink?" I think that's a little bit of a simpy move. But if you're on a date with a girl and you just like get around, like I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I do that all the time. I used to be like paranoid about that, but now like if I'm on a date with a girl, I'll just like get the first round or whatever.
What if you're approaching a girl at the bar and then she asks you to buy her a drink?
Yeah, I would not do that because I think that like I never do acts of generosity as a result of like pressure. Meaning like a girl cannot pressure me into like me. Like if a girl asks me for a drink, that will significantly decrease the likelihood of her ever getting one. And then I will like probably just give her shit and shame her for being a gold digger and actually try to get her to buy me a drink. So yeah, I don't know. Like I try to do like nice things, but only like because I truly want to. So yeah, like that wouldn't work if the girl's like trying to like get me to do it.
Sorry guys, I don't know what the heck just happened to my internet or what you guys.
Go ahead,
but basically, anyway, I just want to conclude so I can hop off. But yeah,
you start talking about S list and then you froze.
Yeah. So S tier are channels that I think are like better than mine. I want to like strive to become like, and then A tier is like channels that I think are just as good as mine or better than mine in some ways, but overall like same level of value, which is like really high. And then B tier are channels that I like really like, but you know, I just honestly think I'm better. Not to sound like a dick, but and then C and lower. C is basically like neutral because the way that I am doing the tier list is basically okay. Well, do they do more good than harm, or do they do more harm than good? So anything that's B or higher is like a channel that I'd recommend in some respect. So they do more good than harm. C is like neutral, and then D or lower is like they do way more harm than good.
So the real question,
Alex, you're clearly at F tier, Alex.
I see how it is. This is going to be the last podcast I can be on.
Now we're gonna have legit beef, bro.
Yeah, I saw my face on the thumbnail, but then I didn't see myself in the video, so I was a little displeased.
It wasn't your face; it was your logo.
My brand, yeah.
Unless your logo is your face, and
it actually is.
You know, you have to tell us some weird shit about yourself. But yeah. Anyway, guys, thanks for having me on. This is fun, and yeah. Until next week's podcast on Sunday.
Yeah.
We'll Alex's audience. Later, y'all.
Next weekend.
All right, peace, man.
Later, dude.
Hey, good talking to you.
What about you, Denton? How do you feel about buying girls drinks? Like, what's your take on that?
I have a strategy to get girls to buy me drinks. If you guys want to hear it.
Yeah.
Tell them, be a gentleman, buy me a drink, but say in a cocky way. So be a gentleman, buy me a drink. And then the girl will usually balk at this. And they say, well, you don't believe in equality. And then the girl usually buys you a drink. I'm 3 for 3 so far on this. So I don't know, like if somebody else can if somebody else wants to try this shit, it's going to be like a turn of events, but it's a really good point because girls are so much about equality and feminism now. If you say that shit, they have to align with their beliefs. But otherwise, it depends on the reason why a girl's asking me to buy her a drink. So sometimes girls will ask because they really want to talk to you and they're just really socially awkward and they want to keep the conversation going. And society says that when a guy likes you, he buys you a drink. And she's like, well, what? Can you buy me a drink? And if that's the reason, I don't mind it. But if a girl is doing it in a very callous, like attacking way, I'll just give her a weird look and walk away. There's also some strategies you can use, like verbally, that will help out with this. You can be like, well, originally I was going to buy you a drink, but now that you asked, now I kind of feel like you're just playing games with me. And now the girl's going to now it's kind of in her court. Now she can either you can change subjects or she can apologize, whatever you guys want to do. But no matter what, then you're kind of in the clear.
Yeah, if a girl asks me, I'm not buying her a drink. But like as Alex said, if we're on a date, I'll buy her a drink, or we're together, I'll buy her a drink. But if I'm talking to her 5 minutes in conversation, barely knows my name, hey, can you buy me a drink? No.
Yeah, I actually believe in double standards, which I think is like something that a lot of red pillars and stuff wouldn't believe in. But guys and girls are different, and in so many different factors. And people that pretend like they aren't or don't, or I just don't feel like you're educated or just emotional, because guys and girls are different. And so I don't mind, like, especially on the first date, I don't mind buying girl food or drinks, especially if I invited her out. If a girl offers to buy me something or something like that, I won't say shit, but she does earn points in my head.
Same for me. Same for me.
Yeah,
My
like that's so
girlfriend does that, yeah.
yeah, so sexy because she's actually empathetic and cares. Like she's not just like it's not some kind of status game with her. It's like she's actually trying to be like a player with me. She's actually trying to, you know, she looks at me like a person instead of like an object, which is what a lot of girls have issues with guys to begin with.
Yeah.
So,
dude, the funniest thing is when girls spend the whole day bragging about how much money they make, and then they're like, "So, are you going to pick up the tab?"
I'm an alpha woman.
Cracks
I'm
me
an
up.
alpha woman, but can you buy me a drink? I'm an alpha woman. Can you split the tab?
I don't need no man for anything. So, babe,
well,
can
it's an ego thing. I think it's because girls are like worse about getting they're worse about getting rejected. Like if there was a video actually online, I was actually gonna do a breakdown of this where the girl she goes to a bar, she doesn't even approach anybody, but she sits at the bar and no guys approach her, and she leaves the bar crying. And which I'm honestly I'm proud of her for even putting herself out there. But she was
unattractive, or why?
No, she actually was. She was cute. I wouldn't say she's like she wasn't like a dime or anything like that, but she was cute.
Not a single guy approached her though, and she was out at the bar.
How's that possible?
Very soft guys now, so we're in a population like not to mention like there's so many girls online who are like, I hate when guys come and talk to me. It's so stupid. And
Dude,
it's like,
I don't know.
Guys are still gonna approach though. Even if you're at a bar.
We put a mic on my girlfriend and we set her loose at like a popular bar in Miami, and we had a camera hidden. Dude, she was being approached nonstop. Like you could not like guy would come in, she would get she would reject him. 5 seconds later, there was another guy. It was just like a nonstop revolving door. Like if she had stayed there for 2 hours, there would have been 100 guys that would have approached her. Easy.
She's an open target.
Nonstop.
Maybe it's just certain areas I've been to. I went to New York. And New York wasn't like actually last night. I think that me and the other pickup guys that were in the place were the only people approaching girls. Everybody else was at their table and shit like that.
Really?
Yeah, it was actually kind of wild.
I fucking wish I lived there. Miami, it's like nonstop.
We wrecked it. We murdered the venue, and it was Shaq was playing too. You know, Shaq's giant ass up on stage. It was lit. The entire club was fucking amazing. The girls there were hot. I actually. The guys wanted to go to Zook, and I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up. We're staying here. Like, you guys are being stupid right now. You guys are being so dumb. Like, and so I just started pointing at girls. I'm like, dude, no. She's like, there's no hot girls. I'm like, her, and like literally right in front of her, I'm like her. Like the guys are like,
you know, I do think there's a big cultural element to it. Like if you go to South America or Latin America, like this idea of like, oh, you know, you should, you know, let the girl approach you is like a joke over there. Like Latin guys will approach nonstop. And I live in Miami where it's like 90% Latin. Or like if you go to like Eastern Europe or like anywhere else, like outside of like these like what yuppie whatever fucking American cities, like yeah, guys are approaching like nonstop. So like Miami, it's like insane. Like every girl I've ever talked to has said like, yeah, I've never been approached nearly as much as when I moved to Miami. It's like nonstop from the point I leave my house. It's just like nonstop approaches. So I fucking wish I lived in a place where no one approached because that would like make me stand out a lot more.
I thought that was all major cities though. That's what I always thought.
Yeah, I thought so too. Yeah. Honestly, I'm surprised by what Denton is saying.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't even believe it.
So I live in Vegas. Maybe so. I've also found this too. Guys are a lot less likely to fight here. Guys are a lot less likely to stand up. But I think it's because they don't feel comfortable in the environment. Mm-hmm. Like they go to a club, and these clubs here are very like a lot of flashing lights, loud noises, and shit. So I think a lot of guys get in their head. They go to the club like, but it's like my house. You know, like I've been there so often. It's like I'm walking into like my living room. So it's a lot easier for me than I think it is for other guys because I'm at ease.
Pool parties are amazing in Vegas, though. I'll say that.
I'm trying to remember like my experience in Vegas. Like I used to travel there when I used to live in LA. I've definitely been quite a few. I remember one time it was like super easy, dude. We were like, I had just banged this chick off Tinder, right? And she was like really hot too. I used to have the porno. I fucking lost it. My old phone. It's a shame. But anyway, so I was like all set, you know. Like I'm not one of those guys that used to fuck 3 girls a night. I fucked one chick. I'm pretty set for the evening. But anyways, but my buddy wanted to go out, and so I went out with him, and we went to this like casino bar, and we were coming back, and we were waiting. You know, before Uber, there used to be like these cab lines. Do you remember that, Denton?
Yeah.
So we're eating the cab line. There's like a hot chick behind us, and I just like literally made a joke. I was like, oh, you should carpool with us. We can all save money. And she's like, okay. She wound up going home with us. It was the easiest pull ever. We brought her back. And so at first I was like, oh, fuck. I guess like this is going to have to be a threesome. I'm like not really into that, but like, you know, my buddy, he has a hard time with girls. And like, I'm like, all right, whatever. I'll take one for the team, right? Plus this chick is really hot. And so we we get back to our hotel room, right? She goes straight up, no LMR of any kind. We sit on the bed and I start escalating, and she's just like, no, she's not having it, right? So I'm like, oh, maybe she wants to just have sex with one of us. So I'm like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom. So then I go to the bathroom for like 20 minutes, and then all I hear is, oh, sorry, no, I'm not interested, blah 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 blah. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. So then I come out of the bathroom, my buddy goes in the bathroom, and then as soon as he's in the bathroom, there's no LMR. The girl's like super down. She's like, within 2 minutes, she's sucking my dick. And so I completely forget about my buddy because I had good intentions. I wanted to get my friend laid. Okay. I'm not a selfish motherfucker. I'm actually a really good wing and a really good friend because I really like try to help my friends out a lot, especially if it's my close friends. But I just kind of forgot about him. Like, cause this chick, I was drinking a little bit and this chick was hot and she's sucking my dick. And then I start fucking her. And then I just sense her body just like freeze up, and I look over, and then my buddy's there with his like dick out. He's like this hairy Persian motherfucker, and he's like, oh, let's have some fun. And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, trying to get this image out of my mind. And the girl's like, no, I don't want to see your dick. So yeah, that was the end of that. But the point is, what was the initial point? Oh, it's really easy to get laid in Vegas sometimes. Yeah, I think that was the initial point I want to make. I guess I didn't
have in every city. But I don't know. It depends. There's reasons why like some guys have it harder in Vegas and reasons why they don't. So the friends are more of an obstacle in Vegas because it's like they're like they watch The Hangover. And they think there's
agree with that.
Yeah, every city like I don't know. Like I don't think I've had. Actually, I think the hardest time I had was in Miami. No, actually no. I pulled in Miami. What's a hard city?
I thought Miami was my easiest city, honestly. If you was in South Beach and you do enough volume.
I think Vegas can be tricky.
My problem when I was in Vegas like 2 months ago, every girl I was meeting was leaving that night. And the one time I had a girl that was willing to pool was a pool party, but I didn't have a place to go, and she wasn't trying to leave her friends.
Logistics is even more crucial in Vegas than any other city.
Yeah,
the logistics can make the difference between you getting laid and you not getting laid.
There are so many spots you can pull to though. So like I've memorized all the unisex bathrooms in Vegas. There's also like certain parts of parking garages where like there's this building. Have you guys? Sorry. So I'm about to lay down on the spots out here. There's literally this grungy parking garage right next to MGM, about like maybe a block away, near a movie theater. And if you go to the second to top floor, there's like a building in the corner that nobody ever uses, and you can go around the building to the other side, and there's like a good view of the Vegas. And I've messed with so many girls up there. One time, oh my fucking God, I think this girl's a sociopath, but she was a hot girl. Like she was fucking smoking. Like she was like 20, like voluptuous, like just stunning. And she like, so we're really high up in the air. And she, as I'm fucking her, she goes and like, she jumps up on the ledge, which is probably about 4.5 feet tall, puts her
waist. It's like, wait, before you jump, let me smash.
Dude, she's like this. Well, she bends herself over the ledge like this with her butt out like this for me to fuck her. And she was so hot. And I thought about it for a second. I started to, but it like her part of her body's over the front of this. I just imagine her going over the edge. And I'm like, I can't fucking do this. I was like, dude, no, I can't do this. So I had to pull her off. But yeah,
I'm just trying to imagine Denton sitting there, sipping on a drink that the girl bought him. Like, sir, you want to go to this grungy parking garage? I know it's real. It's real isolated and dark.
There's like, hey, I have a cool spot. Let's go to this cool spot. I know. Just follow me.
There's some spots you can pull to on the strip if you don't know where to go. Unisex bathrooms in the ice room. You just got to lock the door for the ice room. Like I've done that so many times. So like on every floor of every room of every like place, there's like an ice room. So you can go to the ice room, close the door, and lock it, and you can fuck the girl there until like somebody comes.
Yo,
and then like, oh, we got locked out or some shit, and just like make up a lie and just like try to walk really briskly past the guy. There's also a unisex bathroom in the top of the fashion show, like up the spiraling staircase at the very top, and it has a couch. It literally looks like a room. It is super nice, and I've yet to actually mess with a girl in that room. I really want to. It's very nice.
You should do a video, an article like best places to bang in public in Vegas.
So I was in New York, right? And I pulled a girl to the bathroom, right? And the funny thing happened, it's like a bathroom and there's a bunch of different long lines. So there's 3 bathrooms. I hear people bang on the door all day. And then so I'm like, fuck, we gotta go, right? So I'm like, let's go one at a time. So I go out and then she comes out like 30 seconds later, and they're like, oh my god, shit was so crazy. It was cringe though.
Well, I just imagine now like a bunch of guys like getting lines in all the spots we're talking about. So like,
Yeah. Like next time you show up to bang a chick in one of these spots, there's like 20 PUAs like having a debrief. Right, so I think my opener was a little too indirect. Oh my God, it's Denton.
Good to see you. We've been waiting.
Good to see you. All right, grab the popcorn, boys. Here's the master award. He's about to do a duty on this chick. Oh my God, is that Prince O in the background?
Oh man,
these guys, there's so many guys online. Like it's all right. So I remember how it was when I was younger and how hard it was to read social cues. Like I had it really difficult. Like I couldn't read. I thought I was autistic. I thought I was stupid. And I imagine how, like, I know how much most guys are online, and man, I feel bad for a lot of guys that are watching this kind of shit because I know the journey they have to go through to get better at this shit. And then like a lot of them give up and they're like, no, it doesn't work because I put so much energy into this. And I'm like, I put in so much energy into getting good at this shit. And
I wasted so much energy and time doing this shit.
Man, so many times over and over, just like on the verge of just giving up. And I know there's some guys out there. I understand why so many guys get black pill and red pill because like they try to do what I tell them for like maybe like 2 years or 3 years.
Yeah,
and then I see it work, glimpses of where it works, but it's probably because I'm too ugly why it hasn't worked yet. Because they're like expecting like an instantaneous fix. It's like a slow.
It's true. When you're like learning game, if you have the wrong influences, you can easily go in the wrong direction. I'm just lucky I never had that. Have you guys ever been so bummed out about your lack of success with women that you were suicidal?
Yeah.
Nah, no. But I remember when I was 18. When I was 18,
Have
I
you
went
ever
out
thought about
every
hanging
single.
yourself with your humongous schlong just wrapping around your throat and just like fucking.
Maybe I should go out and do that. When I was 18, I went out every single weekend, every single day, and didn't get a single lay. I was so sick. It just didn't add up. I was frustrated. I remember that.
I was so bummed out, especially when I was like in college. Yeah, I would just go out and just like, dude, I had if I could travel back in time, I would. Used to live in a frat house where we used to have parties every weekend where the ratio was like 80% girls. And my room was upstairs. If I could just go back to that, like I could bang like 3-4 girls a night. Easy. It was like you have to be a dumbass not to bang a chick. But I was a dumbass. That was the problem. And I was like so bummed out. I would get rejected by every single girl. And every time I would get rejected, I would have another drink, right? That's how I would like kind of like drown my sorrows. And so I would just be like blackout wasted, just like stumbling, like, hello, like trying like some lame pickup line that I saw on the internet. Well, yeah.
That's so easy. When I was in a frat house, all I used to say, hey, you want to come see my room? It's cool. Girls used to always come up. I have 3 or 4 girls coming up and just
but you're probably like a little bit more of a natural versus I was like super awkward.
Yeah, you're pretty charismatic naturally, man. I feel. I don't know. Like the fucking ripping of the cord, trying to figure out how to like do all this shit was so hard because like you don't even know you don't even know that you have emotions. A lot of people don't even notice they have emotions, which I think is kind of crazy. Mm-hmm. Like there's a lot of guys out there that so you're always feeling emotions, always. There are some clients you'll be like, so what are you feeling right now? He's like, I'm feeling nothing. And I'm like, dude, you're not fucking feeling nothing. You're feeling something. You're just not aware. So like then trying to teach that guy like how to feel in state or how to feel better. He doesn't even know that he feels emotions ever. He thinks it's a system.
Yeah, because a lot of men cut themselves off from their emotions.
Yeah.
It's like a form of trauma dealing. Yeah, you cut yourself off. I've done that in the past for sure.
They're not self-aware either. Yeah, it's painful too. Like, so you just start shutting off and, closing off from the world.
Yeah. Well, because you're just feeling pain. So it's like you don't want to keep feeling it. So you just cut off and then you feel nothing, right? But yeah, it doesn't really work that way. Yeah, I remember. Or you're using alcohol to like dull, which is another slippery slope. Yeah, I used to have to have 4 or 5 when I was first getting into game. I used to need to have like 4 or 5 beers before I could approach. And then but what I did was I like baby stepped. I'm like, all right, tonight I'm gonna have 4 beers instead of 5 beers. Okay, tonight I'm gonna try having 3 beers instead of 4 beers. I think that's like the way to do it. And then you're like, oh, I only had 1 beer tonight. Like I could probably do it without any beers. And then you tried. I don't know. How do you feel about drinking and pickup, Denton?
I don't mind drinking, but me and Avery have been talking about this quite a bit. We think it does hold you back from getting in state. And it also too, it's not something you can reliably do. So Patrice O'Neill, he's honestly, in my personal opinion, one of the most naturally.
Yeah.
just one of the most hilariously naturally just funny guys of all time. And he's also like, he has a very interesting view on the world of women, which I like because I'm naturally a very nice guy.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he passed away, but he's
yeah. Well, he said he drank once. So he drank once. And he said that he was really good with girls. So he went out and he said that he just like, he put his, this girl was talking shit and he just reached out, grabbed her and put his tongue down her throat. And he's like, dude, I never would have done that if I was sober. And he said that like the only time he ever drank when he's on stage, he said he killed it. He couldn't have done better. And that's the second that he knew that if he kept drinking, that he would need it as a crutch. And drinking is not something you continually do if you're going to drink, like go out and game a lot, honestly. Wow. It's not something you pull off. I mean, not healthily, not without like losing your liver.
Not healthy.
Yeah. Like,
but there's better alternatives to alcohol. I've been talking about this for like years. There's something called kava, which is all the pros of alcohol without any of the cons. Like, it's just such a better alternative. I've completely replaced alcohol with kava in like the last like 3-4 years. Like, I don't drink at all anymore. I just drink kava.
I definitely need to try that. When I was first going out, I was getting drunk as fuck. But I will say, it helped me with getting out of my head, and it helped me with like doing
kava
stuff.
Will do the same exact thing. All the pros without any of the cons. No whiskey dick, no sloppiness, no hangovers, no throwing up, no whatever, like drunk driving, like all the pros without any of the cons. Yeah, it's so much superior, I think.
Mm-hmm.
What is kava though? I've never heard of it.
It's a root that grows in the South Pacific. I tried it when I first went to Fiji. It's basically works on the same exact brain receptors that alcohol does. They both work on the GABA receptors in your brain, and it hits those receptors, but in a different way. In which case, it's like there's no alcohol involved, basically. So,
okay,
yeah, it's.
Sorry, dude. I'm living in the desert, and I turned off the AC to so there wouldn't be any background noise. So I'm starting to sweat like crazy because it's like I'm in the fucking desert with.
Oh, dude, just feel free to turn it on. I think it's fun. Well, we're gonna wrap up soon anyway, but yeah. Okay. Someone said most bars don't have kava. That's true, but you can just bring it with you. I always just bring it with me when I go out because I don't drink alcohol anymore.
I need to try this kava. You've been talking about it for a while.
I've been obsessed with it. Yeah, I've been talking about it for a while. I'll send you a link. Well, actually, I'll just tell the whole group. It's called realkava.com. Really easy. Realkava.com. You can just order it. They ship it directly from Hawaii. Get the instant stuff because the non-instant stuff is a pain in the ass. But yeah, I'm drinking it right now. Actually, that's what I'm drinking. You know what's funny? People always like. I have this like popular YouTuber who has like over 1 million subs. Who's like a feminist, make like a roast video of me the other day, and this always happens. And they always accuse me of being an alcoholic because they see like the bars, you know, like the bar in the background. But it's so funny because like I haven't had a sip of alcohol in like a year. Like I don't drink at all. Like very, very, I haven't drank in a very long time. But they keep thinking I'm an alcoholic, which is just so ironic because I'm like the exact opposite of that.
Yeah, alcohol is a horrible long-term situation. I had to relearn how to day game because I was so reliant on like alcohol at nighttime.
It's not as bad as like Coke, but yeah, it's not ideal.
Yeah, well, it's very addictive. I know, like I've known too many alcoholics, honestly.
Yeah, no, they're for sure. Have you ever tried doing pickup on Coke? Well, I guess the first question is, have you ever done Coke?
Yeah.
I haven't.
I do strippers, so yeah, I've done it. Okay. I don't like Coke. I don't like, honestly, I don't like. So I had an OD situation when I was younger, because of my depression and shit, and I was going through a bad breakup. This is when I quit RSD, and I wanted to do this for a living, and I wasn't succeeding at it yet. And so I was like, and then I lose the girlfriend I was dating at the time, and then she cheated on me with like her rich, like she found out I was poor and I was sleeping on like a little air mattress that deflated. My brother like brought these girls over and she was drunk. She flew and landed on it, deflated it. That shit. And I didn't have enough money, so I just curled myself into the thing.
I've been there
for like a week. Yeah. And I was trying to figure my situation out. And my friend goes, "Hey, let's go in the desert." Yeah. So I did some drugs and I OD'd. So I don't.
What drugs did you OD on?
A lot of shit. Coke, Molly, and I did a lot of acid. I did like 2 tabs of acid. I had a heart attack.
It was probably the Coke that you OD'd on. You can't really OD on
acid. I just pills of Molly. So they were like
and Molly too. Yeah, Molly, especially with all the shit they put in it sometimes.
Yeah, I get like panic attacks if I do Coke. I imagine I just but I've done it and it makes your game a lot better because you're always happy.
Depends on the person.
Yeah.
I think for the few times I've done it, and I haven't done it many times, and I haven't also done it in like half a decade, but when I used to, it would make me too like intense. Like my buddy would be like, dude, you freak those girls out because you were just like, yeah, pick up. Like you just get like too intense. So you need something like that's like, I don't know, like if you are gonna like do drugs, like I think Calva is the perfect one because you're like you have a little bit of the euphoria, but you're also more chill, right? You need the chillness aspect. You can't be like too like intense, right? Because that will just creep girls out.
It's funny though, because I think weed doesn't benefit me when it comes to pickup. I feel like I get too chill, slower, and
I could
like,
not do pickup on weed. Zero
Yeah.
chance. I love fucking on weed. I love fucking on weed, but yeah, I cannot pick up girls on weed at all.
yeah, I get slower, sleepy, dumber, and no energy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like
definitely.
working when I smoke, but I can't game when I smoke. Like I like
cannot get when I smoke.
it makes me more creative, but it makes me overthink, and then I can't approach. And then I'm like, then I'm a bitch.
Yeah, but I love having sex on weed. That's like my favorite thing.
Yeah,
It's like if I already got a chick who's like super down, I'll like smoke, and then like I can't really fuck it up at that point. Yeah.
Wow, you have a lot of haters in your comments.
Yeah, I mean, one guy's this comment was funny. Alex promoted drug use like usual. PWF. I mean, I'm not promoting it. I'm just being honest about what I've done. I haven't done like hard drugs in a very long time, at least half a decade. Not that I ever used to do like I've never had like a drug problem or anything like that. But you know, I used to fuck around a little bit when I was younger. I used to go to festivals and shit.
Well, I will say this, like, so when I was younger, I did like, I did dabble with like Molly. Like I took it like maybe 6 times, and,
Yes.
and I went out and gamed on it. And it's to me, it's another kind of thing that says like that looks aren't the end all be all. Because if you go out and game on Molly,
Molly's interesting.
girls are a lot more into you. And that was actually again another one.
You're so happy. You're so happy.
Girls like, and it's like it's one of those things that like for me was like one of the first like indicators. I'm like, oh, like so. I mean, I went out a lot too. I'd have little moments in the sun where I'd be like in the pocket, and girls would like me. But then like when I tried out Molly and I went to a rave, I went to a rave, and I was approaching girls, and the girls were lighting up way more than usual. And it was like, oh wait, maybe it's not a completely 100% about my looks. Maybe it's the way I feel too. And that was like kind of like one of the big pivots where I'm like, I started experimenting with the way that I felt and the way that I moved. And I started like trying to work on that shit. And I was trying to like figure out how to be in state more often.
Yeah, I think the only problem with like gaming on Molly is like you're so happy and you're having so much fun that you forget to pull because you just spend like 3 hours just ranting and like vibing with a girl, and then it's like 6 a.m. and you're like, ah, fuck, I forgot to pull. Like, what happened? Because you're just like too in the moment.
Well, again, it's not sustainable. It's like with the Tristan Wheel thing. It's not sustainable. It's not something you can do consistently.
No, Molly you really can't do often at all. Drinking, you can drink like 3 times a week, but you cannot do Molly 3 times a week and be healthy.
Be just hungover and sluggish.
It puts holes in your brain too. I've known like it can really
yeah.
It's just not something you can do. And it's like so like, and they cut it with fentanyl nowadays too. Like somebody just said fentanyl.
I've heard that,
that will kill you, and you don't know what's
that will kill you. That's why I haven't done. That's why I haven't. That's one of the reasons I haven't done Molly or Coke in the last 5 years. I'm too worried about it being cut with fentanyl. That's like the biggest reason. I don't want to fucking die. Yeah, that shit. You can OD on that real quick. Yeah. That's why I don't fuck with that kind of stuff anymore. That wasn't the case. That wasn't like a thing back in the day when I was like 10 years ago. There was no such thing as fentanyl, I believe. So there was no worry about like ODing from like whatever, some random Molly that you bought. Yeah, we just went into just started talking about drugs for a while. But you know what? I try to be like upfront and like straightforward. Like I don't know. I think a lot of YouTubers, they put on like this front, like when they go like live in front of their audience, they're like this person, but in back end they're doing lines of blow off like hookers' asses and like they're fucking have 3 midgets dancing in the background while they're banging like a fucking I don't even know. Versus like I just try to be upfront. Like what you see is what you get with me. Like, you know, I don't hide any aspect of my life, past, former, or current, from you guys. So yeah, what can I say? It's pretty fun. For some reason, the Black Pillars have a theory that I'm a heroin addict, even though I've never done heroin.
Well, I think it's stuff like, so when I first started doing YouTube, I would sometimes try to put together content in a way that wasn't authentic to me. But then I started finding that when you start saying things that aren't authentic to you, what ends up happening is that you'll have a hard time with being consistent with your content, and eventually you're gonna start having content like that you forgot about years ago or some shit like that that's not consistent with what you believe and your values. And so the best way to be a YouTuber is honestly to, like, instead of just like trying to keep up with all these lies, is just be consistent with what you are. And then like, that's the biggest move. And I've seen like some YouTubers that don't do this very well. And I'm actually kind of surprised they don't get caught more often. I mean, they get called out in the comment section like, on occasion, but to me, I think that's the best way of being. It's just being authentic with your audience. It makes it like me talking about ODing. Honestly, a lot of my audience, they know the struggles I went through to get good at this shit, and it actually became like I was afraid to tell people about that originally. That shit was really like, I didn't want people judging me or
Same.
people like, yeah. And I still have people like certain YouTubers that bring that shit up, trying to like discredit me or trying to be a D-bag towards me. But dude, it happened. I'm not like, nobody's perfect.
It's more common than people think. I was also hesitant to make a video about like the one time I like sort of attempted to kill myself. It was involving a girl. When I like almost like, I guess, tried to overdose. Well, I wasn't trying to overdose, but like I took too many painkillers. But anyway, so I was like hesitant to put out that video. But yeah, like I got a lot of love in the comments. People like, dude, that happened to me. This gives me motivation. Like the way I started to kind of see it is like, if that video can even help one person who's going through something similar, it's worth like 100 negative comments. Not that there was 100 negative comments, but that's the way I started.
You pretend to be like,
same way.
you pretend to be a god. Nobody else, like, now they can't do what you're doing because you're just something ethereal. Like it makes it a lot easier for people, like when you explain, like, you fuck up too and you have problems. When you can actually like drop yourself down their level, they're like, oh cool, this guy's just like me, I can do the same thing, which I think is pretty big. It's a lot more empathetic for you as a streamer to do that, because people that watch your shit that are in like very depressed, negative, fucked up areas, they could be like, he did it, I can do it.
Yeah, no, I agree. So like one thing that I was hesitant on really telling my audience is I ended up getting like 2 DUIs in a month because I was going out, I was drinking and driving. So that was one of the big reasons I moved to like a major city. I was hesitant as hell to tell my audience that.
2
but like,
DUIs in a month, damn man.
Yeah, I was fucking wild.
what did the second cop say? He's like, dude, didn't you just get one of these like 2 weeks ago?
That's exactly what they said. They were trying to play nice to me, like, oh well, you shouldn't be doing this, but hey, what's your problem, or where are you coming from? You didn't learn your lesson, and then next thing you know, got my second one.
Look, sir, we understand you have a humongous schlong. You can't really be walking down the street because that, like, that's not practical for you. But like, that's no reason to get in a car and drink and drive.
Yeah. I was hesitant to tell my audience at first, but I was like, fuck it.
Dude, it makes for a good story, man. I think like, so anytime you have something bad that happens in your life, so I've had a lot of people that like, so I'll have clients on occasion that are suicidal, and I'm trying to talk them out of shit. And like, dude, look, this is just like a fucking, like, this is like an amazing story that you're going to be able to tell one day. Like when you're on the top winning, like, it's not as cool a story that if your entire ride was just fucking easy. Like a good story has like downs and ups and lefts and rights. That makes it more dynamic. And then when you actually finally win, you're like, dude, somebody can make a documentary about this shit. Like that's what makes it really fucking dope. It's like, it's the struggle. The struggle makes it cool. Yeah, it makes it better.
That's so true. Yeah, if you look a lot of like Elon Musk, like, did you guys read his book? Well, there's let's just put it this way: there was massive struggle. Like Tesla and SpaceX were very close to being bankrupt for a period of time. Like they were like weeks away from being insolvent. So yeah, and that's what I think makes it interesting. Same thing with like Arnold Schwarzenegger and a lot of these guys. Yeah, it's like it seems like when they come out on the other side, it's like, oh, it probably was easy for them, but quite often it's not. Quite often, like really close thing. I mean, I can tell you with the Playing with Fire brand, it was a really close thing. When I launched the business, I had like 5 different bad things happen within the first month. Okay, let's recap. I was Tinder was trying to sue me. I had Tinder lawyers hitting me up saying, if you don't delete anything mentioning Tinder from your website, then we will sue you. I had this crazy fucking Indian hacker literally getting my website taken down. I had my trying to get me for copyright infringement or some weird shit like that. Then I had this Tinder actually wrote to my IP service provider. My website kept going down. I had my Facebook group. No, I was permanently banned from Facebook right around that time. And what was the fifth thing? There was one more. Oh, and then fucking the company I was working with, it was a payment processor, stopped working with me. I lost tens of thousands of dollars because they wouldn't even transfer the data. 5 things within the span of 2 months. I was so close to giving up. Like I was like, fuck this shit.
Which video triggered Tinder? Was it the how to know when they DTF? Which video was it?
It was actually before my YouTube channel. It was my website. They just didn't like that my logo looked too similar to theirs.
Oh, it does. I never even noticed that.
Oh, you're actually right.
But I was able to. I did something sneaky. I was able to play Tinder against that Indian guy, and I called up the lawyer. I went on a little bit of a limp, and I sweet talked her for like an hour. It was a woman, and then
that's game.
I wouldn't say I gamed her. It was just like me being just like ultra like nice. And then I was like, by the way, this guy, let me tell you about his website. And then I was able to play them against each other, so that was pretty good.
Oh wow!
I was able to stay out of court with Tinder, which was necessary for me at the time.
Was it you? Someone said it was about to get sued by a seeking arrangement or something
like
that.
Yeah. Well, they sent me a cease and desist, but I wouldn't say they were about to sue me. But that was the first step is a cease and desist. So yeah, they sent me a cease and desist because they don't want me talking about them. I guess I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, well, I thought it was because of your products because I know you push a lot of. By the way, your stuff really helped me out on my side of it.
Nice.
Between you and the old company that I worked with, I didn't know the dating apps could actually work, and yeah.
That's amazing.
That's
what I use the majority of the time. Oh, what are you saying?
We just launched a 2.0 version of my product. I'll hook you guys up with a copy. I think it's a lot better than the first one that you probably saw.
Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what were you saying, Prince?
Now I love dating apps. Dating apps is where I do majority of my killing now. Back in the day, I used to do mainly code approach, but now dating apps is once you have the script, you can just start sending it to every girl and just run volumes. But the one thing that I see that a lot of guys don't do is have good pictures. Like once you have good pictures, all your work is done for you. And like if you get a professional photographer, they know how to make you look good in the photos.
Yeah, that for sure. Good photos are very important.
Yeah,
you should look more attractive in photos than you do in real life. But most guys do the opposite. I mean, I see like the same. Like I do, like I don't know, maybe 5 coaching calls a week, maybe 4. I just do it to stay sharp. I don't even like real. It's a very small part of my business model, but I see the same mistake time and time again. It's always a variation of the same issue. It's never like anything new or something like that. Like, oh, I've never seen this before. It's always like you look significantly worse in your photos than you do in real life. Your photos are very posed.
You look timid.
Yeah, you have a weird facial expression. You're not doing anything. You're just standing around. It's always the same thing over and over again. No, it wasn't PayPal. It was PayPal I'm working with now. It was what the fuck was it? Oh, I can't remember them. It was a popular one, but it wasn't PayPal.
Was it Stripe?
I stopped using. Stripe,
Stripe. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's what I'm using now.
Stripe.
Should I cancel that?
Well, they don't allow pickup or dating type of content, so they can at any point freeze your shit, and then you lose access to all the credit cards and whatnot. So that cost me like tens of thousands of dollars. The thing was at least 20 to 30,000 I lost on that.
That's so stupid. So like that's so fucking stupid.
She pulled a girl for you?
Pulled many people.
Say hi.
Nice to meet you. You can give me a kiss if you want.
It's only like 500,000 people watching.
No, it's only 95. It's not as exciting.
What's up, brother? How are you?
How you doing?
Good.
But yeah, so what were we talking about?
Stripe payment processor.
Yeah, nothing.
We were talking about dating apps. We were talking about dating apps too for a second, which I think like I don't think the audience is like super like which one should I use as if I want to be a dating coach type shit.
But also another thing that I do a killing too is Instagram. It's a long game on Instagram too, but like I do a killing from that. Anytime I go out and meet a girl, I do try and get an Instagram. She starts watching my stories. Eventually, she starts commenting my stories, my DMs, or I'll start commenting on them. That's more of a longer term game. Yeah, so that's one thing I do a killing on.
Yeah, I do remember you were telling me about that, the Instagram. Yeah, I want my blue check mark to come in, and then I'm gonna go harder on that.
Tell me if the blue check mark really helps.
From everything I've heard, it makes a massive difference.
Shit, I'm gonna have to get one.
I've had friends who've actually like paid for their Instagram. I've been working on my business Instagram. The big thing is like, when you add girls in your shit, you don't want them like being able to find your YouTube channel. So I have like a separate name for my Instagram that I've been pushing. But yeah, so he was paying for his shit and he didn't pay that much. And I thought about it for half a second. I'm like, dude, maybe just pay for like the followers. Just like kind of get it out of the way and kind of build it up initially, get that initial like ball rolling. But
so what I did was I have a whole strategy. So my business Instagram and my personal Instagram are two separate things. I try to mix it, but I was losing too many girls. So I ended up like following a bunch of girls in the area. They didn't follow me back. I unfollowed them, follow girls at different restaurants. And then anytime I meet a girl, I started following. That's why I say it was like a long-term one, because if you have active followers, that's how you really start getting girls from it. But that was like a long-term thing. Yeah.
Well, so I call it the 4 pillars of game, which I'm now starting to I'm trying to rework this because so everybody gets in their own lane and they say this lane is the only way to get girls. I think it's a mixture of all the different lanes. I think by working on each lane, so it's like somebody would be like, it's all about pickup. Oh, it's all about dating apps. Oh, it's all about Instagram. Oh, it's all about social circle. Well, why are you not doing all of them? Like, why are you why are you putting all your energy in one? Like, they all help each other out anyways.
I definitely agree, because in basketball, like, you need to be able to shoot, drive, pass, all that thing.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like
offense. And you have no defense.
Exactly. I feel like with code approach, like, there will be some leads that don't go nowhere that bluff on me, but if I add them on Instagram, maybe they might re-engage a year later. And then with dating apps, I usually don't approach during the weekday. So like I use dating apps during the weekday to set up some stuff during the weekend, or if I don't have nothing, I go out. So that's another pillar. And then sometimes you have your social circle also. So like you need to be able to be sourcing girls from every aspect.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. There's no I don't know why guys feel like they have to pick one or the other. Like, oh, this is better than it's such a dumb statement. And you can do all. They're not mutually exclusive in any way. They're very complementary, if anything.
Even with the guys that say I only day game, I don't night game, you spend a lot of wasted time when you're day gaming because sometimes there's no volume. Like you should do both.
What do you think is better, day game or night game?
I just think night game, there's just so much more volume. So I prefer night game. Every time I day game, I end up walking for hours to approach maybe 15 hot girls. So it's better when you in your lifestyle, like you can Whole Foods, if you're a Starbucks, or if you're just going to a library, that's better instead of just going out actively day gaming. But the problem is most guys can't get in state. So most guys don't have that flip. So that's the problem why they have to actually go out and day game.
Yeah, but also to comment on that, you should be able to approach a girl without being in state. Like you shouldn't rely on state in order to approach. It's just a nice bonus. What about you, Denton? What do you prefer more?
I probably back in the day would have argued both, because that's just the way I am, because I'm always about ego. But I actually have to agree with Prince, I think, on this. Night game, you just get more volume, you get more practice. Like in the day, there's a lot of sitting around and stuff. I think the girls can be if you get a phone number, the phone numbers are less likely to flake. Yeah. But I don't really get too much in the way of flaking anymore. And but I don't as much as I used to, for sure. Not definitely not that bad. Yeah, girls actually.
I agree. I think night game there's pros and cons, but I think night game is probably better. It's like if your goal is just I need to bust a nut ASAP, night game is better ROI. The pro, okay, one of the cons of night game is the girls are out with friends and the friends cock block, but it's a more sexual setting. You're way more likely to get a same night pull versus day game. That's because girls are doing shit during the day. These pickup guys think because they have nothing going on that the girls don't have anything going on, but usually during the daytime, the girl is running errands and shit, and she can't take 3 hours out for a day. Sometimes she can if she's a tourist, but if she's a local, quite often she can't. So,
even a little better is the golden hour, let's say 7, 8, right before nighttime. Even if you want a day game, you're better off doing that. Yeah.
Agreed. I call it evening game. Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah, 7 to 8. I think what's really underrated that no one really talks about is happy hour and going out during happy hour, 7 p.m., 8 p.m. I definitely believe with this kind of shit, early bird gets the worm. For sure. There's a lot of advantage to going out a bit earlier.
Yeah. Because I forgot who said it. By the time it's at 1 p.m., girls have gotten approached by 1 a.m. Girls have gotten approached by so many different guys.
Yeah, going out, I think, I don't know if you will disagree with this, Denton, but I think going out just 1 a.m. is you're selling yourself short. I think you should go out. Definitely a big thing is just going out earlier in the evening.
Yeah, I agree. And one thing I was telling people a lot is I see a lot of people, they wait till the end of the night or the let out to pull a girl. I'm saying like you should be pulling a girl halfway through the party, trying, because by the time the end of the night comes, your friends might be coming. She gonna
Yeah.
be tired.
Yeah.
Try, if you get the chance, try and do it right then and there.
You hesitate, you masturbate for sure. 100%.
Oh, that's a good one.
I've had that happen so many times where I thought like, oh, I'll just get her later, and then like, oh, 5 minutes, oh, she's what does she do with that guy? Why are they walking out together? I thought Stacy was waiting for me. Stacy, I'll miss you. I'll text you. Yeah.
There are a lot of pickup guys that for sure will like wait till like, all right. So there was a term that I heard for this that was a lot better than this. So I apologize. They called it skag hour. If you guys ever heard of this, it's not a good term. There's a way better term for this. I just can't remember the name of it. But you wait till like in each city, there's like pickup guys that are just like, if you want to be lazy and you just want to pull, you go in like the club right before the club start closing and the girls start siphoning out, and they just start approaching them while they're siphoning out the club. And you have a really, you don't have to waste your time being in the club, blah, blah, blah. For me though, because this is my shit, I got to practice. Like a guy comes on a boot camp with me and I'm like, I'm under practice. I'm not approaching. I'm not doing this. Then I look like a bitch. And it's like, dude, I just paid you money to like jump on this boot camp, and now I can't like, blah, blah, blah. So for me, definitely. Yeah. But I mean, I don't see anything like a problem with like, with doing the other. If you're just one of those guys that just wants to get the results and you don't have the time and you work a lot, I don't see the problem with it too much. Like I never tried the game though, but that sounds like a good idea.
It definitely is. Denton, you should come to Miami so we can film infield.
Yeah, dude, I'm totally down.
Same offer goes out to you, Prince.
If I'm ever down, I'll come out.
Show me what BBC game is on.
Yo, so my thing about infield, I used to record hella infield, right? Do you remember when the RSD had the BBC documentary? Well, not when they attacked Street Attraction.
Oh.
Yeah, so I actually had like a little snippet in that video. Like my face was on the back because I was making infield at the time, and ever since then I had stopped putting out infield. I was like, oh fuck no.
Well, Street Attraction did a lot of things. Like so they had a video where like at the very end of one of their videos, like a girl is moaning in the background. So that's why they like got mad at them. Like a lot of the guys that got attacked, they had videos where like girls were like, where they were filming girls, like where where there was sexual content being involved. And the girl's like, no, that shit's illegal. That's a lot of what caused it. Like,
well, like a video of them fucking the girl, they put that on YouTube.
Dude, they're well, they one of them had, I'm not gonna say names because a couple of them are actually my friends and they learned that lesson. But like one of them had like
how many friends do you have?
Hey, I'm quite popular, okay?
Clearly.
So yeah, so he actually in his product had like him legitimately having sex with a girl, which is so fucking
that's wild.
Dude, it's awful to do. It's honestly like, in retrospect, evil as fuck.
I thought the Street Attraction thing for the BBC documentary was because they said, I don't want to say it, but I guess I say it, Lamar. I thought that was the big reason for they got canceled. Because I thought a reporter went undercover and then they recorded him talking about that.
Well, all right, so there was a lot. Well, the reason that Google started taking people down, BBC did it for different reasons, but so I have, again, one of my many friends. I have a friend that works for Google that's able to pull up like the actual message that BBC sent to Google, which they own YouTube. Then they sent a clip of Street Attraction, like being like, hey, look, they have like a video of this girl in the very end of one of your videos moaning. Just take them down before like you guys get in trouble over this shit. And then that's what caused Street Attraction to get taken down. Because at the very end of one of their videos, they had like the girl wasn't in it, but you could hear the girl moaning. And like there was moaning in it. And so that was what they made them take down Street Attraction.
Damn, that makes me worried. There's girls moaning sometimes during like Indian P will be banging chicks and like whatever. And if you watch some of my live streams, you will hear girls moaning. So that makes me paranoid.
Yeah, you gotta watch that shit. That's what caused them a lot of trouble. That's what happened with Bradicus. Bradicus had a lot of videos of him with like being filmed like that.
Unfortunately, he has a small dick, so the girls aren't moaning that hard. It's just like, yeah, right there.
Bradicus just disappeared.
I love your big Indian cock.
As long as you're like following the rules, though, you're not like making it too sexually explicit. You can get away with it still. But then again, the whole cancel culture thing. Right now, they're having a big lull. They might come back around eventually, but right now it seems like the tide's turned on them. Like they're getting attacked pretty hard.
Yeah, I think people are tired of it. It's just like nonsense.
It's so fucking stupid. It has no rationality in it either, and like it's so insane that these people believe this shit. So much of their bullshit. No offense, I think it's manipulative. I think a lot of people like all the terms they use too. they're all manipulative terms. Like what
Oh,
the fuck?
I think I will fully say I think those like cancel culture SJWs are usually the biggest pieces of shit. They're the most mean, nasty human beings I've encountered. They're just like nasty human beings. Yeah, from what I've seen.
Dude,
Yeah.
they're perpetrating all the shit that they're like attacking people over. They're actually everything that they're complaining about other people doing, they're doing themselves, and they're unwilling
Yeah.
to even accept that. That's
They're usually massive hypocrites. Yeah, dude,
Oh,
I've
yeah.
seen this like with on TikTok. Like I've been getting so much hate in the last like 3 months. I don't know if you've been following this, but like every day there's multiple like negative reaction videos made about me, which is quite entertaining for me. But yeah, like they're making me out to be worse than Hitler, basically. Like I'm like we need to stop this crazy dating coach who's telling guys to be confident and like escalate on dates and like fucking like re-engage if the conversation stalls out. This guy's crazy.
The how to catch a catfish video is funny, and the fact that she was actually catfishing, that was a hilarious one.
Which one was that?
I think a girl took you down. You got taken down because you were saying how to spot if a girl's catfish or actually fat. Do you?
I probably made a few like that, and I was roasting that chick who like tried to roast me.
Yeah.
That just sounds like practical advice. Because like I mean, like if it was the opposite way around, a girl was doing that about guys, like holding fishes up and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like nobody would fucking be mad about that shit. But then like, but a guy does it, and now it's like a problem.
Exactly.
Like incorporating, like it's just like sexist bullshit.
Yeah, it's such weird because they want women to be liberated and have sex, but they don't want men to have sex. But for women who are not ready to get laid, it involves men having sex. So it's like if a guy is having sex with a girl, he forced her and coerced her into it. But for girls having sex with a guy, she's just being liberated. She's being a queen. It's such a weird double standard that's like nasty. Yeah.
Well, I think that girls think the guys, so they're thinking that all men are like that top 1% guy that's fucked them over that had sex to talk to him again. When all actuality, most guys are like these poor guys that like probably have sex once every 3 years, maybe never have sex, are hidden virgins. Yeah. And those guys need help. And like, you know, then they'll be like, then they'll even those guys sometimes be like, try to like reverse simp, and they'll be like, yeah, you're right. Those guys are assholes. Like you shouldn't be going out there and talking to girls and try to pick them up. Like, look, like attracts like if you're a loser, then you attract a loser. Like, you know, like it's not going to be like you're like girls are socially fucking intelligent. They're not idiots. Like, it's not like we're doing like this fucking.
Well, they think those guys should just keep being themselves, and eventually the right girl will come along. That's like their dog shit advice.
Even that one girl who teaches how to get money out of men, finesses men, if that was a guy, he would get canceled so quickly. What?
There's a massive double standard there. Yeah, for sure. That's literally what the Tinder swindler was doing, and he got like fucking, and rightfully so. I think that stuff is wrong, you know, guy or girl.
But girls do it all the time, though.
But girls do it all the time. It's socially accepted. She's just living her best life, right? That's what they say.
Yeah.
But when a guy tries to get money from girls, which I'll fully acknowledge is wrong, like he gets shamed off the internet. But when a girl does it, it's okay. It's such a.
I was watching Love at First. Oh, you can go.
Well, they're trying to get equality. Like that's the whole movement. But yet men should still pay for the food and the drinks. Yeah, like men are also supposed to be like, you know, the whole thing about mansplaining, like that immediately fucking just like caused a whole bunch of issues. Like I've had girls like where I was trying to like just have a conversation with them and just mansplaining. And I'm like, isn't this just sexist? Like now I don't have an argument because I'm a guy. Like I'm not allowed to have an argument. Like it's like, dude, you guys want equality, but you guys are like literally like pushing the gender roles further and further away from each other.
They don't want equality though. They want women to have all the power. And not even all women, just the women who agree with their weird fucking agenda. So like they'll publicly attack my girlfriend. Like they'll be like, because she's dating, what's her crime? Dating me. They'll be like, you must have low self-esteem because you're with a guy who treats you like shit. She'll be like, actually, he treats me great. Well, you're just a liar and a poopy face. Like, it's insane.
Well, they don't actually. I see what it's actually going on is tribalism. It's an us versus them game. It's not like a we game. They're not in it to help other people out. Which they're not I don't think they're self-aware of this shit.
No,
they think there's like they think that somehow we're like you and me both, like all of us are like oppressing them somehow. Like, the real thing we're trying to do is I want to help out guys that I remember where I was and how depressed I was, and guys can't talk about this shit. Girls can cry, and people will be like, "Oh, it's okay if I cry." If one of the guys in the comments cries, over like his shitty situation, people like roll their eyes at him, which I'm not even saying that's wrong. I'm just saying that like, which this again, why I believe in double standards. Cause, you know, I just don't, it's just not, they just don't understand the situation. Cause guys don't talk about their shit because it's not cool as a guy to talk about your shit because it's bitchy. As a man, if you complain about having no money, no girls, no this, no that, no love, then you're just a bitch or you're a loser. You're this. Where if a girl does it, she's like, oh, queen this or whatever the fuck is gonna, you know, it's just there's like this the conversation for girls is a lot more vocal. Girls can talk about their bullshit. We can't. So it's just like not as spoken about.
Even the fat folk thing, a woman can be fucking 200 pounds, but they say you should still love her. If a man's 200 pounds, unless his game is on point, he might not get no girls.
He's a fat ass. Lose some weight, bitch.
Exactly.
Dude, I saw the most ridiculous one that just blew
Even
my
short
mind.
shaming. But
I reacted to this video was this like really ugly tranny lady, I guess. I use that word very loosely, trying to explain why it's transphobic if you don't want to bang trannies. How the problem is you and you're being transphobic because you're not interested in fucking trannies. And I was like, this is the pinnacle of insanity. Like, yo, if you wanna fucking transition, do your thing. Like, you know, I think
then they should go fuck any guy that approaches
I
them.
don't want to fuck you, yo.
Mindset from the same rationale. They all right. So because we have a preference, like we're an asshole. But the thing is if they say no to a guy for whatever fucking reason, like that's not
her having standards.
Yeah, now it's standards and preference. But like if a guy has standards and preference, now it's bullshit. Now you can't like now it's again coming back to the fact of it not being like it's not quality. It's that they want to win. It's that they see us as the enemy.
Yeah, call me crazy. I just don't really like chicks with dicks.
No. Like there's some guys out there love that shit. The same way, like not every girl should want to fuck me. I'm not gonna get like mad and go on blog and be like, yeah, girls don't want to fuck me. I don't care.
Yeah,
dude, there's a lot of girls that like me. The same way there's gonna be a lot of guys who want to fuck trans.
Well, fact of the matter is, majority of girls aren't gonna fuck us. Like even if your game is really good, you're still not gonna get like even half the girls you talk to. That just kind of is what it is. So yeah, it's like I want to try this though. Like every time a girl rejects me, I'd be like, "Oh, are you receding hairline phobic? You can't handle a real king who has a little hair loss, or are you Russian phobic? Is this a racist thing? Are you blonde phobic? Is it because I'm blonde? Like just try this fucking not. The girl will laugh in your face. She'll be like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? You must literally be a retard." But like,
or men don't like strong women.
Like I love it when a really fat chick is like, "You just can't handle me." I was like, "Sweetheart, I don't want to handle you."
Yeah, like the whole like short king thing. I actually kind of like the movement. I think it's kind of dope. I heard like now everybody's talking about short kings, and I was like, okay, cool. Because like for a long time, there's a lot of like bullshit towards short guys. Where like I know a lot of like, all right, some of the baddest motherfuckers I know are like short dudes, where they just like, and to be fair, actually, I know a lot of short guys that kill it with women, but I also know a lot of guys that like if somebody gets mad at a short person, the first thing they bring up is how short they are, and it's like, dude, it's like as opposed to like being fat, which is controllable. Like if somebody's short, like dude, like it's like the person
can't control them.
Yeah, that's something the guy can't fucking control to fucking begin.
I have a lot more sympathy for things that cannot be controlled than things that can be controlled. Like
yeah, exactly.
Like if someone's short, like my heart goes out to them because that's a tough hurdle to overcome. Right. And, and not that I think girls should be required to fuck short guys, but like, it's a tough position if you're like a short guy who's like 5'2", but versus if it's something that like your weight that you can control, then I have very little sympathy for you. Like just fucking lose some weight.
It's crazy. Women don't care. So even on Hinge, I put that I'm like 5'11", and sometimes the girls will, when I go out, they will say, "Whoa, you're not 5'11", you're 5'9", and they'll just keep on saying the whole time. I'm like, damn. Well, in your picture, you look 30 pounds smaller. What if I said that she would fucking go crazy?
Yeah, I know.
Well, girls can't handle rejection like a guy can. I think like living life of a guy is like learning. Like it's you're not given like the what is it the fruits of your labor. You're given the journey itself, kind of an energy. Like I mean, like if you go out, you go talk to girls and stuff, and girl rejects you. Like the job of a man is how do you handle the rejection. And it's not that you get mad at the girl for rejecting you. It's like you handle it with ease and you handle it in a way that makes makes life better. But people, I think like girls, they want like, not saying all girls either. There's like so many fucking cool ass girls out there. I'm saying like more the feminist movement. They want like the they want society now to like fucking like to take the tables and get rid of the corners on the table so nobody can nick their knees.
Yeah.
They want to like they want to change the world so that nobody's now mean.
Don't wear my wig. This is important. This is my tranny wig.
Oh, was good.
Oh shit! But no
Oh.
nipple. That'll get my. Keep your
Hey,
nipples.
smash the like button so she can shake it.
You guys like my nipples? You guys like my nipples?
Keep the nipples hidden.
If you guys smash the like button, she'll show it.
No, can't show that on YouTube.
I'm
YouTube
joking.
takes you down for that.
Yeah. So I just think like they shouldn't be like looking for people to start being, like wanting people to be nice to you is like not something that you're given. Like that's just like that's.
Yeah, you know the significance of the wig is I'm planning on doing a part 2 to that video I did where like I used FaceApp to turn myself into a woman. I literally just wanted to see how far I could take it. So I ordered a wig off Amazon and fake tits. I'm gonna put a wig on, wear the fake tits, keep my beard, and see if I can get a bunch of thirsty dudes to still fucking like the profile, which I'm quite confident will happen. We'll see. It's gonna be one of the weirdest Tinder experiments I've ever done.
All right, guys. I'm about to be out though. It was
Yeah,
a good
yeah. Let's call it. All right. Do you guys want to plug your shit real quick?
Yeah, you can go first.
Instagram, Las Vegas Lost Boy, YouTube channel, Karisma King. I post videos there a lot. If you guys have any questions, just pop over there, check them out. I post up a lot of infield as well. You guys can check that shit out. If you guys are curious, I'm actually good at this shit. Yeah.
Yeah. And then my channel is Prince O. My TikTok and Instagram is Prince O Lifestyle. I actually have tons of infield too, but you have to go back to my old videos. So yeah, you guys can check it out or hit me up on those.
Mm-hmm.
It's so funny. The chat wakes up when there's like girls in the background. Like guys are so predictable. Yeah.
Good for engagement.
Yeah. I guess. Video. I gotta start having girls in. But yeah, so thanks for coming on, guys. I thought it was a good discussion. We covered a lot of different topics, but I thought it was a good discussion. So yeah, we'll definitely do more of these in the future. And yeah, there's definitely a open offer to both of you to come to Miami and film infield.
Oh yeah, fuck, dude. I'm down.
I'll probably come one day.
Yeah. Cool. All right, guys. Have a good night, everybody. Oh, tomorrow I got just for the audience, I got a debate with Destiny. So tune in for that. It's gonna be part 2 to my debate with Destiny. Then Tuesday I got another debate. We got debates like every single day this week. So there's a lot of good stuff. So make sure you guys subscribe. All right. Peace.
All right, peace, guys.